See ya. Thought we might try to address, oh no, some positive things today. Get out of the standard mindset that people have right now due to, well, if anybody's been paying attention to what's going on in the larger world, you might be able to figure that out. But let's see if we can think of something that's good. The silver lining, as they would say. But I don't even know. I didn't really care about a silver lining because I do like clouds. I don't mind. I don't mind rain, and I don't mind. So whatever silver lining means, I guess. So these. Let's look at this. So many people get in arguments on the interwebs, whether it is usually Instagram or any of these. YouTube is probably another big one there. Yeah. These social media outlets, and you get in the comments, and you just go, oh, Reddit. There's another good one. Oh, Reddit. What a pile of humor that is. How biased the people on that is. It's who runs that garbage? Here, I was looking at the research on what percentage of these comments and things are from robots. Now we'll discuss this from a few different angles, and then I'll say why it's good. Let's say why it's good. I was reading a study from 2017 and 2019, and it was a few different ones, and they were saying anywhere between 40 and 52% of comments on YouTube were robots. Now we're in 2021, so that's a few more years, right? So you'd figure there'd be a larger gambit being played. There'd be more, at least algorithms, computers, and then you have the people that themselves are commenting that have, how would you say, they've already been programmed to believe that their minds, they don't have critical thinking skills. They're just repeaters of information. So a good percentage of what you're going to deal with on the internet is going to be bots. I mean, I don't know what it is on Instagram, but I'd assume even more on Instagram. It seems very apparent that most I don't remember what the number was that I had read, but it was, again, I couldn't find any more recent studies. But in the between 2017, 2019, it was almost 50%. So we're looking at like 70% of people things that you think you're dealing with. So the positive is it shouldn't let anyone bother you, because like, who are you arguing with? I get in arguments, and sometimes I know it's a real person, and I just know them to be from, after a couple comments, I'm like, oh, you actually are a human, and you live in the sticks, and you have no idea about life at all. But majority, you get into a conversation, and all of a sudden you get it's always the same algorithm, and the bots use, and it's the same algorithm the humans use that are typing, and it has to do with using faulty logic by using a type of argument style. And but their argument style is always very empty, because they use a lot of logical fallacies. So they try to, well, they'll attack first, name call, and then get you upset, and then never answer anything that you have to say. That's classic. It's classic. Don't answer, distract, and move on to something else. Politicians have done it for years, and they do it online now. So the benefit here, the things you can really think about, is when you do come across actual humans, great, you can interact with them, and there might be something good to come about from it, But it should give people leniency in their own mind to go, oh, not only are you not arguing with an idiot, it's probably a robot. But if you are getting into an argument, like, don't bother arguing with stupid people. You can't win a conversation with someone that's an idiot, because they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with expertise. And especially whenever you try to deal like with people from any kind of logical consistency, they don't have that. They're not able to have multiple things going on to make multiple foundational arguments for anything. They can't do it. So these are humans too. And then especially on the silver lining is, okay, we got all that going on, so you don't need to be upset about that anymore. So you're not got to worry about that. And the people that are, they're just trolls, and there's a lot of people on here that are paid to have their channels, and just because they can't really do anything else in their life, and they're lame imposter trolls that get paid to, and most of them actually, they probably believe what they're being sold, or they're just so empty of any value in the world that they think they're doing something good, so they like to get patted on the back and to get a nice little reward for bullshitting people. But I don't think most of them believe they are. I think they're doing it in the name of goodness and scientism. Oh, science, yes. They're God. And they're all across the map, as I said. You know, some of you have that are just the Christians. They've been on the mission for a long time. They're going to tell you everything they need. But we've already experienced that, so you don't argue with those people. Now you can't argue with people that think they know science. It's great, though. It's great. These people are the Circus Maximus. They're the clown. They're not even princes. They're like the lower levels. They're like people that if they tried to get a job as a clown, they wouldn't get hired. Like, they're so bad at life, they wouldn't get hired to work at a shoe store. You know what I mean? They couldn't get hired to stock shelves while wearing a clown suit, you know? So there's a benefit to that. And people that are so confused about what's going on in the larger world of what's going on. I mean, you know what I'm referring to here. That they're so lost with that if they do if they do eat of the apple, what occurs? Well, soon enough they won't be able to reproduce another generation. So, as much as I don't wish harm upon people, despite the fact that I already know it's occurred, I don't wish that, but they certainly will not be having another generation come from them. So we can at least, you know, if we go, hey, maybe, you know, the bounty is down the line. Well, you know what? Then maybe it is. Maybe that is that they don't get to reproduce, because why would you want stupid people reproducing anyways? I mean, do you want to live in idiocracy? I mean, we're kind of living through it now. You know, Idiocracy, the movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Where like the most average of intelligence is so far and away smarter than everyone else. Yet all the dumb people think that average should be the most median, average, middle ground. Doesn't know much, not too smart, not too stupid, just average. That the stupid people find that person to be dumber than them. You can only imagine what smart people look like to them. So that's where we are. So hello, everyone. What's up, Melissa? What's up, Ninja Turtle? How is it hanging? I'm on this little hammock here, and I'm sitting next to what's called the dueling oaks, excuse me. Except for it's just one tree. I don't know what I have to look it up, because I'll show it to you. Take this over here real quick. It's pretty badass. So see so that was from the hurricane. That's from the hurricane. There's a bunch of tree up there in the hurricane, but you see how big that is? I don't know if you can really comprehend how big that is. It's pretty far away. Like from there to that side, I couldn't span that. That's like 7 feet across. So like what would you say the diameter would be? I don't know. The circumference would probably be 20 some feet, maybe more, 30 some feet. Anyways, So there's these awesome branches. And that right there is the... I've taken you guys in there before, and I could go in there now. I just felt like being on my hammock. But that is the outdoor gallery of installation art, giant pieces of artwork. It's called the Sculpture Garden, and it's awesome. So I could go in there, but I'm kind of enjoying this. Anyways, this is called the Dueling Oaks, but there's just one oak. So if anybody looks that up, let me know why it's called that. Let's see what you say here. Ninja, why are most, if not all, overlords depicted playing classical music? Interesting. I don't know. I mean, if we consider the ISO, the International Standards, was it ISO, International Standards Organization, which back in the I don't know, 1930s or whatever, they changed the tuning of pianos. So everything prior was always classical music, right? I mean, there were obviously different styles. Everything that you think of is it was just classical. There was other stuff going on, I'm sure, but it might have something to do with what the churches were originally used for. It might have something to do with the correct harmonies prior to being changed. And then once somebody changed the harmonics from middle C being 432 and changing it to 440 and disrupting the frequency of the churches, that could have ruined the churches. That could have broken things. That could have broken humans. I mean, certainly it has. And or maybe that's, you know, depicting them afterwards. And now that's what the dark overlords or the parasitic overlords would use now as a frequency that's off the natural harmonics. Could be. What's going on? Some iron worker. As I'm out here getting I got a little bit of coffee. I've got some beers. The last of my dollars these days, man. It's been a fucking struggle out here. So I will remind everybody, if you want to, you can help me out, because this hurricane is still fucking things up down here, and I've given a little more money of my more of my money away than I should have to help people out. So now I need help again. If you want to, CashApp, PayPal, whatever's. Yeah, it's beneath. And if you need any help personally, you can contact me through... Oh, y'all can subscribe to my other thing, my Telegram. It's just my name, Zen_Atman. And I can post things there that are way better than Instagram, and that'll be closer to the things that I want to say on here. And I don't know if I can do live videos from there, but I can definitely post some interesting larger thoughts that I have in there, because there's this weird thing they let you do. It's like freedom of speech or something. But yeah, anyways, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, that helps me so I can purchase myself some snacks. But today I have a little bit of coffee, a couple beers, and I had some kratom from the other day. I found this, so that's fun. That's what I'm doing now. Oh, and you can also hit me up on my Gmail at Theoluminous, TheolumiNos, meaning God light, at Gmail. So if you have like hemorrhoid problems or a bloody asshole, you know what I mean? Or if you got mental disorders or something that you need remedied, some sort of health-related issue, mental, physical, or perhaps spiritual, or want to learn some magical things, holler at your boy. What are you talking about? What did I say? What? Oh, for the Telegram. Oh, it's just, yeah, Telegram. I can post things on there that are better than what I can put on Instagram. Instagram, my channels got shut down 3 times. So the people that I used to F with on there, they don't even know I have another channel. So anyways, it's because Instagram just shuts that shit down. But Telegram, Zen _ Atman. That's my channel. And I can post things on there, and it's set up pretty much like Instagram is. And I can post things on there that are way more betters. That are might ruffle some feathers or something. Or that are closer to the truth, you know? There you go, yeah. There you go. That's my telegrams. Some people are like, "Oh, don't download that. It's garbage. It's not as secure as what." I'm like, nothing online is secured. People are retarded. Like, it's just about having the freedom to say it. Like, oh, okay, you're gonna stay on Instagram, or you're gonna stay on like all of these other things that they just delete and censor everything. At least there you can say whatever you want, and you know, it's a pretty. I mean, you do get a little bit of the. Well, at least I've already gotten kicked out of a group. You know, for using bad language, because it was a kind of a Christian-oriented group, which I didn't realize until every other post. Then I started to realize, like, every you know, even though it would be a post about some really like off-the-wall stuff going on in the world, then there'd be like Timothy 4:14, and then I said something about a picture of someone, and they were not a fan of the language that I used. I'm like, you're criticizing me over language, and not that person over the fact that they're like hanging babies by their testicles in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Like, what are you talking about here? Like, but nonetheless, you got your own page. You can start groups, and it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. What up, Crow? So I've been hanging out over at the other side of the park, next to the big lake, but they were doing a little work over there, and it was a slight bit windy. And oh, do you hear that? Toot toot toot! You hear that? So there's a little miniature train that dips around through the whole park, and it might be coming by here in a second. You guys can see it. Where does it go? It goes through there. It comes by right over here. And this would be, I think this is maybe the first day it's ran since, I don't know, over a month ago. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Big day. Big day. Rad. Happy autumn. Happy whatever the pagans say. Oh shit! You damn witches. Because obviously I'm nothing of the sort. Yeah, there's the crow. Kaka, he's chilling. Well, there's a couple up there. Straight chilling. Crow life. The Crow Magnum man, huh? That'd be a great picture. A Crow Magnum man. It's like a crow that's also a man that's wearing that has a giant phallic, wearing a Magnum condom. Be great. The Crow Magnum man, right? It's a whole nother good marketing campaign too. You know, out here fucking like crows, right? So I really want to see this little train, man. I can walk you over to the station, so you can see where it comes from. There's a park. There's a part of the park that I've never been to that has like rides and all sorts of cool stuff in it. It's like I don't know, maybe there's a Ferris wheel in there and all sorts of games and things. It's kind of like a little kids portion of the park. And then there is also a garden across the street that is usually open just for weddings and stuff, but on other days it costs lots of money to get in there. I'm not trying to pay that. I mean, by lots of money it's $5, but $5 is $5 too many. Yeah, man. I mean, everybody's like that. I mean, you only got some people that aren't. Everybody else is like, WTF, yo. It's interesting because of so many people that I used to know here that aren't here now, in New Orleans for the 18 months of nonsense, plus being, as I've explained plenty of times before, being a very service industry based city, and people coming in and visiting, and restaurants and tourism and all that, those people don't have jobs. So where did they go? So I don't know, because I don't know where they live or where else they went to and what they're dealing with. It's crazy life, man. It's not like they could just like went to another city and found a job in the service industry, being a bartender or a line chef or a waitress, because it's not like other cities had more jobs plentiful now. In fact, those cities have less jobs available too. Where and what are these new jobs, and who's qualified for them? You think people that have been working in the service industry, holding doors and serving drinks and taking orders, you think they're qualified for anything else? Not really. What's up, Super Champ? You're building a robot? You're building a robot to post for you? Yeah. They already got some. Is that going to be a physical one that does the typing too? Yeah, and I can only wonder, as I just continue on the early part of the show, I can only wonder what percentage now, because the numbers I was explaining earlier, the 50% number was from 2019, really. Then you got the people that are just using it as a tool or a device for propagating something for a business or for whatever their agenda is, and then like how many of these people are like really on here to convey and learn and get information? Not that it ever was, but there was a time. There are little bits and pieces of social media that, yes, it's not just preaching to the choir, because some people are like, oh, where did you get that piece of information? That's really interesting. And then they go and study something about water or something about, oh, I never knew that. Where did you get that? But most people are just like, they're pushing an agenda. I mean, and it's even more apparent than in real life, when people aren't at their job. They kind of can act, well, whatever human they have left in them, they can still be that. But now on the internet, it's just until somebody can prove otherwise. For me, you're a robot. I don't know. I got nothing against robots. Robots are cool. I'm all for tools and technology, doing things. There's some things they shouldn't be doing. Like John Shamanic sent me a ridiculous video of a German dude having a coitus with some sort of coitus machine. It was like just a box that did a massage on the genitals. I was like, you Germans are crazy. I was like, I think that's where you draw the line. I'm all for a massage chair. I think a massage chair is great, but there's something that's a little strange. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. Have you ever used one of those fleshlights or whatever? Never have. Might be cool. I mean, shit. I guess I'd rather take the stuff out the side, out the middle of a pumpkin, and use that for. Is that divine? Disassociative? What do you mean? The people that have intercourse with boxes? Well, I don't know. I think most of the world where some people are just empty-headed. Some chicks be with dudes that are not even there. A lot of dudes are with chicks that aren't there, or that are plastic, or that, sex is a tool. It has nothing to do with anything other than that. So it's not like they're not already somewhat robotic. I mean, they got fake boobies installed. They got fake lips, extra makeup, weaves, fake hair. I mean, how much really farther? How far are they away from being a robot? And if there were robots available for the coitus, the intercourse, shit, why not? I mean, I get it. I mean, I just the weird thing was just a box with the. It's kind of like a glory hole. But you know what's in the box. It's just a bunch of. You watch Westworld. I don't know. I guess I'd rock that. I'd rock the Westworld robot chick out, because it's not like you can find a real one out here, anyways. Everybody's tainted. Most of them are very, very off the wall. Lost in the sauce. What's up, bleep bloop? What's up, Shada Sonata? Skull, what's up? What do hillbillies do on Halloween? Pumpkin. Maybe the upgrade from hillbillies would be like, I think you get a little more specific with. You'd have to probably use Alabama. I don't think you could just use hillbillies. I would just go directly to Alabama for that. You know what I mean? Use that joke. But yeah, that's funny. Pumpkin. Oh, I just had to hit a button, and all of a sudden all these other things are popping up here. Oh, what's up, Mr. Braintree? The flashlight is dope. A cucumber. I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't. Maybe the cucumber works if you fill it with the innards of a pumpkin. And I think that's the idea, because it's Halloween time. I had great success. I mean, the idea that people have, like, you use food for masturbatory things, I think that's way more normal and real than half the things people doing out here anyways. Should be intimate with nature. I mean, what do you think the idea of a witch on a broomstick was? It was a phallic symbol. It was a dildo. They made them out of wood, and they would on the dildo they would put certain psychedelic plants when they would. So they'd be riding the stick, the broomstick, and they would get high and fly all there. So they'd be mentally high all over the place. That's the whole witch's broomstick was. Oh yeah, eye to eye contact. Yeah, it's too intimate. Can't have that. You stick to your cucumber. That's hilarious. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, because I'm very very intimate, and I will make sure there's eye contact. That it's hasn't served me well sometimes, because then you get people that are very into you that you're not necessarily into. Like, you want to be there in the moments and enjoying someone and have that intimacy, and eye contact is excessively intimate, and yeah, sometimes that backfires. Like, I didn't really like you that much. Sex wasn't that good. You're not even that cool. Like, I don't know why I looked at you like that. You got the wrong impression. That's hilarious. Braintree. That's hilarious. I never had that. I never, even with the chick. No, not that many. Max out at 3, because a lot of them would be like it would be you kind of it would more sex than 3 times, but you know it's tantra, so you don't I wouldn't actually orgasm, right? So. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the trick. Once you've been away from having relations with the other sex, then when you get some, it doesn't matter how bad or terrible it is something, right? And it's, no matter how bad it is, it's better than nothing. So it's almost like, unless you're certain, to just avoid it. Yeah, there was a couple times I accepted some said offers in the past few years. And it was I if I had my head on straight, I probably would be like, nah, this is not that's not gonna happen. But oh well, you live, you learn, you move on. Yeah, cheers. I'm about to grab another beer. Speaking of cheers, I got what do I got here? Oh, here it is. Got a little kratom. Got a little oh, I forgot I made some coffee this morning too. Kratom coffee and beer. And I got a cigar. I just wanted to make sure that the wind wasn't blowing too much, and this would be the most comfortable spot before I crack that open. What's up, D Noble? Yes, yes. Can you, so everybody can Yggdrasilians? Can you put that in there as if it was a dictionary, and how to the pronunciation key? Holy shit! What is this? The genie's up in here. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a bit. How you living? What's up? What's up, boo boo? The Mayan genie in the building. How the hell? How the hell is it going? Crazy times, man. Crazy times since the hurricane down here, man. Oh, but I'm good. It just everybody, as I put, when you walking through it and seeing like the rest of the, like there's still trash everywhere. They haven't picked up the trash from a lot of places, and just the general struggle. A lot of businesses still closed. Like most businesses are still closed. And I'm lucked out because where I live in the city, the part of the city, other parts, it's still a mess. Yeah. Like I drove through most of the city the other day, and from block to block there'd be some lights were still out and trash was everywhere, and sometimes like rolling up the windows didn't even help, you know. Utter chaos, man. Yeah. It's yeah, it's different, man. It's for 2 weeks it was completely utter chaos because nothing was open. There was no electricity. Nobody had electricity. That took a long time. So, and it was hot as balls. So yeah, a lot of people left. A lot of people left after the hurricane. Oddly enough, and most people didn't leave before it. They left after because once the electricity out and they're like power's out for all everything's off. They're like, oh, peace. A lot of people, even people in my building, like my building's pretty big, and only I don't even know what percentage are back now. Maybe half. As long as you're good on the inside. Well, I don't know. I mean, my insides, I'm trying to fill my insides up with a little bit of kratom, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of beer. Mentally, I'm a goddamn shit show. I'm a lunatic. No, honestly, not really. My mind is pretty calm for the most part, despite how active and fantastical and quick my brain works. I don't really have that much I don't know, standard type of spastic, like freaky out energy. I mean, that's due to being able to talk to you guys to get some of my stressors out, and a good cold beer now and then. Yeah, I don't know what my life would have looked like if I would have stayed in businesses that I was making money, and I would have continued on that path. I don't know where I'd live, and I don't know how, if I would have got into like heavy drugs. I don't know. I never really, even when growing up, I didn't like cocaine and shit, but I'm sure that once you make a lot of money, you kind of run with those people. It was really weird too. I used to hang out with teachers, and whether you if you guys know this or you don't, teachers by far are some of the biggest drunks. But the amount of teachers that I knew that on the low did blow, I'm like, how can you afford that on your paycheck? But nah, that was part of their life, yo. I'm like, no shit. Teachers are crazy, yo. Teachers party, man. Elementary to high school, all of them. Oh, they're all crazy. So normally you just assume, oh, you probably work in finance, you probably work on Wall Street. Like, no. People with the most normal, run-of-the-mill jobs do some of the craziest drugs, but at least the rich people have the good drugs. I wonder if I would have turned out to be um, a narcissistic sociopath. Because, obviously money and having things and would breed that kind of behavior and insanity. Like whenever I had nice cars, I could roll up somewhere and scoop something just because of my vehicle, right? And if I had a nice suit on, I can get something else that I want easier. And when that shit comes easy, then you wouldn't develop much personality or humor, or yeah, you wouldn't really develop personality, and you'd become a ball of ego, I guess. You become a big pile of shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know about the it helps the lymphatic system. That's one of my major issue that I mean of anything that my ailments tend to be more in the lymphatic, since I've become more I'm not as active, physically active, so I've been more stagnant. So I have more of like gouty symptoms, and I before I used to be active, and I'd have my massage table out, trading massages, etc., etc. Everything was good, and then you become stagnant. You start eating crap, and all of a sudden, lymph system ain't working, and I'm not doing the things, and so you kind of get that part. Like even now, even in here, my pinky's a little fucked up. Just eating like garbage and not really getting a lot of movement. That's one of the downfalls to, you know. It's like, damn. Sometimes being lazy is nice, but then you're like, it was easier to stay in shape. But I didn't know that about the lymphatic drainage through getting out of the fight or fight. I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting. I need more of the actual um, brute force method. I need more like massage and cupping and gua sha. But it just, when it's like it takes somebody else to do cupping for you, really, because your back is where it really should be done. Everything else is kind of secondary. And yeah, you can do a little bit of gua sha to yourself, but again, that's another thing that's mainly best, do the back. Like who's massaging themselves? Most dudes, the only thing they massage is their testicles. Massage your dick. Ain't nobody massaging them. I mean, I do now and then, but a little bit in here. Got to give yourself a little rub. But nah, man, that is part of this sedentary life. Is it's not great being not physically active, but starting a few years ago, that's what happened. Stopped playing basketball, and then when I was trying to get out to play again, they removed all the basketball courts because of the whole thing that was going on. Started 18 months ago, almost 20 now. Is that nonsense? They take the basketball courts down. Anyways. No shit. Yeah, well, stress is a major killer, because that's going to do quite a bit, just because of the chemicals you're releasing in your body. Yeah, the smoking and drinking are both stress relievers, especially rubbing alcohol on the inside. They remove heat from the body. You you let the heat off. That's what it's literally doing. Um, so in a lot of ways, that's very healthy. And smoking, it gives people, they actually, what they found out is the reason they smoke is because they actually are breathing properly, rather than being shallow breathers, despite the fact that they're putting a bunch of chemicals and shit in their lungs. even when they're not smoking, they're breathing a little more deeply. That's interesting. Yeah, stress will kill you, man. Stress will fuck you up. Interesting, Finn. Yeah, chaga. Yeah, cupping is one of the best things for people. Because for a lot of reasons, it is because obviously one of the major reasons is it's also psychological because you're seeing what it does. Like at first, it's a little bit. Hold on. It could be a little bit jarring for people because like, oh my god, that's a bruise, that can't be good. But when you explain it to them like what's happening, because it's a superficial, it's breaking very small, it's just pulling blood and shot to the surface, and the bruise goes away very quickly. But if you understand, it's helping so much in your lymph system out. But it's doing that from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint, when people get to see it, they can. It's like if somebody gets a massage, while it's really good for them, they're just like, oh, that felt good. They're not even they're not able to, seeing something and the results of it is big. This is why people are like, oh, massage, it just feels good, or getting acupuncture doesn't really do anything. Yeah, but both of them do quite a bit. The cupping though, very big deal. And gua sha, funny enough. Let me see here. Let's see what I got in my bag. Could you imagine that? There you go, my gua sha tool right there. You can use just about anything. You could use a lid. You could use one of these lids right here. You could use a lid to do it. Mason jar there. Here's an actual tool. It's like this one's probably made out of a hard plastic. Sometimes they use it out of certain bones from animals. Other ones you get are made out of jade, and there's a reason energetically they use jade. And basically what you do is you put it against your skin at an angle, and you scrape up. Like you normally would put some oil on here, and it's gonna break up your fascia from your skin, and you're really gonna dig in there, and it's gonna cause a lot of bruising. But it's superficial bruising. It's not musculature. It's not bruising your muscle. You're not doing yourself harm. But yeah, these things are pretty dope. So funny, I just put it in there the other day because I wanted to use it. I forgot I put it in there. Ooh. And you can sometimes in your hand you can hear the crunches. Little crunches come out of there. Oh yeah, that's what I need right there. Melissa, yeah, buddy. Yeah, Super Champion. You smoke the herbs. Do you like tobacco too? Like I used to because I associated tobacco so much with cigarettes. I never preferred it, and then I had a couple cigars. I was like, oh, this is all right. And I started researching and looking into it, and then seeing how medicinal the plant was. Smoked pipes for a little bit. Those were always interesting. But that's like a whole thing. You have to have a je ne sais quoi about you to smoke a pipe. But there's so many good things to it. It slows you down. It literally makes your brain work slower, calms your brain down, and because you have to sit there with it and just chill, it's changing your breathing again. It's calming your heart rate. It's calming your brain, and you're more thoughtful. Tobacco was a very, very sacred plant. But then what do we do? We call it cigarettes, and cigarettes means miniature or feminized, and then we put a bunch of chemicals in it so people can just go out and like smoke, 30 of those in a day or whatever. Like, yeah, that's really what you're supposed to be doing, and the fact that cigarettes you inhale and you're inhaling chemicals, which is completely insane. But a cigar you don't really inhale. You're just getting it. You're getting it through into your blood rather than into your lungs, and then into your blood. So it's a different process. And even if you say someone's blowing smoke up your ass, like that's literally a thing. You don't think that works? Like, I mean, I've never used it, I've never done it, but I mean, obviously it was for a reason, and they make it as a joke. Well, if they made it as a joke, and then somebody must have been doing it for a reason, a smoke enema. Okay, so if you were to take a pill and put it in your mouth, it goes in your stomach, and your stomach acids are going to eat away the efficacy. Well, maybe not efficacy, but the how much of the pill that will function. So if you put 100 milligrams of a Tylenol in, it's only going to get 50 milligrams. But if you stick that up your butt, you're getting damn near 100% of it. So imagine the same thing with smoke. And also there's a bunch of other qualities in certain types of burning certain things that you could probably kill off all sorts of parasites and bacteria and get a little bit high. I mean, don't be so anal retentive, huh? It's funny. It's like most people out there, they out here digging up their ass with their finger because they fart all day, getting them dirty ass underwear. Take a dump and they're sticking their finger up their ass with all that bleached toilet paper, and they're the most anal retentive people. I mean, then you say get a bidet, and I've had more than one dude say that's really that makes me feel awkward. It makes me feel like it makes them feel effeminate. I'm like, how? I was like, literally, it's the least feminizing, less gay thing you can do. Like, you don't even touch your own butt. You let the water do it. People are weird, man. Oh, you quit the weeds. Interesting. Good shit, man. See, a lot of people they got mad. I think we talked about this a while ago. Super Champ, the legend. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna remind you. Thank you for the dollars a while back, because you know what, that helped me out, because I'd put it in one of my drawers as safekeeping for like a rainy day fund, and I forgot I did that. And then I was cleaning out my stuff the other day, and I came across, it's like, oh, I totally fucking forgot. And that did me a great service. So yeah, that came in handy many times for me. But yeah, we've talked about the people that they got really addicted to smoking weed. They don't even get the addiction. I smoke weed every day. Well, that's addiction then. Then you're not using it as properly as a medicine. Then you're an addict. A lot of people don't see it that way. Well, if I don't have it, I act like a spaz. Like, well, that's kind of the point, dude. Then you have a problem. Oh my God, there's dogs. I'm gonna go play with these dogs. Skull. Imagine if you could smoke a cigar with your ass. I mean, I'm sure you've seen videos. Chicks be like popping ping pong balls out of their vaginas, and they smoke out of their vaginas. And I've heard of monks that can use their use a urethra to suck water in. I mean, I'm not sure what the purpose or use is. I mean, I guess it just has to do with the control over it. But interesting. I assume you might be able to, because you can kind of do something with your butt muscles there, where like if I'm spraying water from my bidet at my ass, I can do something with my butt muscles to collect water. So perhaps smoke a cigar with your butthole. You know, if I had a cigar to waste, I'd give it a shot. And if I could do it, I would post it somewhere. I'll put it on my OnlyFans or something. Like, so what do you do in your life? Well, I smoke cigars out of my asshole. Like, that's how people know me, but that's not what I do, okay? Oh, that's too good. Certainly, yeah. What times are better to smoke? I've never considered those things. I've never been someone to. I don't know. My habits and how they lean are probably different than how I think if there was a best practice. You know, if you go through best practices, I think tobacco would be used evening. I think that would probably be done, because I mean, if we really consider, I've gotten to this before, the way that Americanized culture, let's just say the Western civilization, we get up in the morning and we smoke tobacco with chemicals, and we drink coffee with bleach, sugar, and chemicals, but it's a coffee, so the coffee and so nicotine and caffeine in the morning, and then we do the caffeine throughout the day, which keeps us on excite mode, on work, do mode, and then we have a drink at happy hour at the end of the day, which gets us into creative mode and makes us relaxed and loose. Where if we look at other cultures and the correct way of doing things, if you look at, you know, the French at least, they're getting up and they're having a very small breakfast. We have a big breakfast. They have a small breakfast, and then they'll have in the morning they might have, you know, wine, and then later they'll have their coffee and their tobacco. But their coffee isn't even coffee, because they're drinking espresso, which is way less caffeine. So there's a bunch going on there too, and their tobacco was, you know, originally. So they're doing it in a different order of when to consume certain things, and like even when they consider having dinner. So yeah, I mean, for me though, I like having, I don't know, maybe brunch time, and that's not just on Saturdays and Sundays. It's any day of the week. It's like 10 to 12. I would like to have, if I had my druthers, I would have a glass of wine, an espresso, and a cigar. That's what I would do. But I think most people, larger tobacco product like a cigar should probably be evening. And I think there's some room for, and weed too. Throw weed into the mix. And that's, again, dependent on what kind of weed and when that should be smoked. I think that's another evening thing. Can't imagine smoking that in the morning. Although that was kind of what I used to do. One of the many of my talents, smoking cigars out of my ass. Yep. The darker the roast for espresso, the less caffeine. Because as they roast it, it's destroying a lot of the caffeine. A light roast coffee will get you more caffeinated. Everybody's like, "Ooh, dark roast. That's gonna have a, you know, espresso." Dark roast, no. Dark roast has less caffeine, and espresso has less caffeine. I could drink a quadruple shot of espresso it'd be perfectly fine. But if I drink a small cup um, of light roast, I'll be fucking zooted. I don't know if you've ever seen my shows in the past when I'm like, okay, this is Zen on coffee, and it's just me wilding the fuck out. Dude, y'all going the wrong way, y'all. You going the wrong way, hoes. You're about to get... Uh-oh. Skull. Yes, that sounds about right. That does sound about right. It's and the idea that, you know, so many of these yogis, they play with mercury to begin with. That mercury is not the poisonous substance that they tell you it is. Just like radioactive things aren't what you think they are. But mercury, I think, is perhaps completely, and I've gone over this many of times, I think it's completely thrown under the bus when it's not that. It's not mercury as a soft, moldable, malleable, liquid metal that is the dilemma, but it's the heavy metals that they're mixing with it that are causing people problems. Mercury in and of itself, I think, might be, especially when we consider they used to mix it with gold and they would use mercury with all of their medicine. Whether it's because they were already half robot or because it was good for the human system, you know, where do you, and here's a question I don't even know the answer to. Where do you find mercury? Where do you find it? Because in its natural state, or is it made? I really don't know this answer. I've never even. Funny, because I'm Gemini and Mercury is I'm controlled by Mercury, right? And I know all about it, but I've never actually considered where do you find it, or do they make it, or is there something that's going on there? Because I thought it was just Mercury is an actual element, so you have the assumption it's somewhere. Hold on a second. I have to mute this for a second. My dude's got a badass bike. It looks like it's half electric and half pedal, but it's like a bike. But it's not a motorcycle. It's not quite a. It's like an in-betweener, and it's got a really badass stereo system on it. Like, I want that, but I had to mute it for a second because the song that was being played. I'm not gonna get my channel. I'm not gonna get a copyright claim against this, especially considering the trash that was that music. And it wasn't trash. I mean, I could, okay, put it this way, it was trash music, but it's something that I could bang out to. I'd be happy to listen to it and like dance, but it's not something I'd be like, I think I might be able to learn something today. I might advance my consciousness with this music. I might get to another level here. What's up, Stan? Whoa. Yeah, you like the, yeah, see, and that's another thing too, is that we need to consider what types of beers we're drinking. So IPAs, depends on the woman, but because it's estrogen rich, depending on how much testosterone is running through a woman, that might actually balance her and help her. Some women are already overly estrogen rich, and they're already too sensitive and moody and whatever, and you add that, and that's not great. But, and then there's some men where an IPA or a farmhouse or certain those would be correct because they have too much testosterone running through them. But then you get these these little bati boys with these skinny, tight jean wearing, already effeminate, emasculated these dudes, and all they do is drink IPAs because there's chemical precursors for estrogen in IPAs that cause, hey, if you're a dude, try drinking, do a few days, and see if you're not even more emotional. That you're not like, why am I crying over this song? And if you do it long enough, you'll get some bitch tits. You'll see skinny dudes with bitch tits. IPAs, yo, that's what will happen. Yeah, Finn, I hear you on that. I was right there with you. That was right around college, just after college, I suppose. Not that I finished college, but and I think, you know what, probably is because my jobs were at night, like some of them like delivering pizza and whatever. So I would work at nights, done delivering pizza at 1. So your day is off. What do? You wake up kind of late. You get high, and you go golfing. And you go back to work, or you go to classes. That was fun time. Can't complain. I wish I had a little bit more. Oh, I don't know, wherewithal to do my work. Because delivering pizza is pretty dope in college. I don't know if anybody did that. There was days, there's some weekend nights. Make $200. Normally it was 100 and change on a weekend night, and that's all straight in the pocket. And then you get your whatever, an hour plus your gas money. So if you got just a garbage car and that's all cream, man. So you work, you could still do 30 some hours, work 4 days a week, make 500 some bucks. What do you got to do with the money? You're in college, man. Buy beers, buy weed. Yeah, man. Yeah, we were stupid. I lived in a dorm. I lived in a giant dorm room with it had 3 rooms in the center room. So I lived in like a tower. So I was only a freshman, but I was living in the junior and senior towers. Long story how that happened, but and then everybody in there, we were just like, I was like, yo, why don't we just buy carpet? Let's carpet this joint. Like, for real? I was like, dude, a buddy of mine that I work with, he works at a carpet place. He'll come and install it, and all we got to do is get him drunk. And he's like, this is leftover carpet. It'll cost you next to nothing. He's like, this is just scraps. I'll just put it in. So we got the whole thing. We got the whole thing carpeted. Now, oddly enough, when we were done there, they were like, when the year was over, they were like, you got to take the carpet out, because what if the next person doesn't want this? And we're like, are you kidding me? Like, who wants this tile floor? This is like antibacterial, antifungal. It's just carpet. Who wouldn't want this? It's kind of funny. Yeah, good times. Yeah, red mercury. Talk about that a little bit. Stan, yeah, tofu, the way, there's a larger thing to that on how tofu was processed, and the soy beans and tofu in Chinese culture, and what's going on there, and where we get it from, and what we've done to it, and what, the soy boy and tofu, and like there's more that goes into that nonsense, because obviously when we really look at Asian, Chinese, Indian cultures, vegetarian, and some of the Indians, they're using mung beans, and you got the Chinese, Asians, a lot of white rice that everybody's like, no good, but except it is, and then they're using tofu, and because of the process they're making it, is extremely healthy. And then also you have to understand that we're different species. Like, that's not going to necessarily agree with people that are extremely melanated from a different climate, and it definitely, there's definitely going to be, depending on where it's made, estrogen in there. So I mean, if you're just like, if Like I bet you these dudes, if we really compound the game here in America, look at these little skinny cats out here that they eat tofu. And they go vegan, and they got the tofu, estrogen. They're drinking IPAs. Oh, they're just brittle. They're brittle. Like 135 pounds, 6 foot tall. Like how are you that? Like I feel like I'm emaciated at 155 pounds. Like how are you that skinny? Super champion. You know what? I dig it. Yeah, I was drinking V8s with lime and hot sauce and basically a michelada. And then if you got some vodka, throw some little bit of vodka in there. Vodka, V8 and Coors, hot sauce, lime, and then some maybe garlic, onion powder, whatever. But I mean, if you got a V8, you really don't even need to add much. If you just got tomato juice, and then most importantly, clamato or shrimp. Like there's a shrimp clamato, so it's called like shrimp mata. And then your Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Stan, but like that was back when I was, my diet, whatever was in that carpet was only, you know, my whatever. I was probably smoking out of tin cans. You know what I mean? Smoking garbage weed out of tin cans and eating microwaved tuna fish. I don't know. Oh, good to see you, Melissa. I will chat with you later today. Yeah, the clamato, man. That's what's up. Well, I don't know. I think I'm on day 2.5 of a fast. I don't think I ate yesterday. I don't know if you guys do this, but I do this often where I'll get to a point I'm like, oh, I'll just get something to eat later, and maybe not. I just won't feel like it. Then I'll get into a movie or something, or I'll be out doing this, and like obviously I'm out. I don't want to eat. And yeah, I think I might be on day 2.5 of a liquid fast. So now I'm considering if I should continue going with it, or as we were just talking about noodles and uh, tuna fish and shit, or if I should eat. Yeah, super champion. Yeah, make sure you got that Worcestershire. It's I mean, basically you're making. It's kind of like an offshoot to a beer Bloody Mary. And if you've never heard of I mean, normally they would do it with a Mexican beer, so a michelada. Normally look up that whatever that recipe is. Oh, those are real good, man. That is a great breakfast beer. Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I'm sure that I probably would have had some sort of diabetic something, but because of the amount of fasting I do, because of the amount of sugars I probably, as a child, probably had it. Like that's all I had. That's all I ate was just garbage food and sugar.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, there we go, Finn. Yeah, Super Champ. You got experimentation. Yes. What kind of life would it be if we didn't experiment with different different things to consume? I mean, that's like your boy. Uh, uh, what's his name? He's an author from New Orleans, Robbins. He wrote Butterfly. Butterfly. Jitterbug Perfume. He wrote. Actually, they got a couple made into movies. Tom Robbins. There you go. And he was in his autobiography, which is great. I highly suggest it. You can get it on, like Audible. Yeah. Hey, I'll give you one of these straps if you want to keep trying. I'll unhook this. If you want to try climbing it. But remember, because once you get up, then you got to figure out how to get down.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. What about this one here? You wouldn't bother.
I didn't want to disturb.
I'm chilling, dude. This is a giant ass tree. What am I doing? What do I gotta do? I'm sitting here drinking beers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go, Fire Jake. Yeah, once people know about the intermittent fasting, that's where it's at, because then you don't need to be so committed to doing it. Do it. So these people here are these chicks are about to climb this tree. I don't think I've ever seen anyone climb this one. I've seen people. You guys are from here?
No.
Oh, where have you been in the park? Have you been to the lake?
Oh, we went to the chime
tree
in that area first.
Yeah. And there's a really big tree when you go through here. You haven't been to the coffee shop here?
No.
Go that way and go over the bridge. There's a little bridge right there, and there's Grandpa Tree, and it's even bigger than this one.
Oh yeah.
And it's that's like, see these that hang down? There's a bunch of them, and it's actually held up with like giant 8x8
Because
thing.
it's so old.
It's like 800 years old. Did you
hear that, Rissa? What? Over there, it's the grandpa tree.
Well, I call it Grandpa Tree, but it's called the McDonough Tree.
Okay.
And it's literally like when you walk over this little bridge here, and then take a left at that coffee shop, and then you go over. It's small. It's like right there. You'll see it. It's right over there. There's a bunch of trees about this size, and there's two really big ones that have, like, there's a little plaque up there. It's right next to the tree. It's called the McDonough Oak. Oldest one in the park.
Ow!
You guys are good at climbing. I don't have to catch you in this thing, right?
We're used to climbing pine trees.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so you like little monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You guys gotta give me a second.
I've ever climbed a tree like this though. Is it slippery or no? Not really.
Oh, there's not a tough one, is it? You're not tall enough now?
Can you go up to that little area there so that you can get up there a little bit more?
Calista, what did you step on?
I went the other way. There's like a little, perfect little hole.
Okay, get to a spot and then
I'll be with you guys in a second, because I'm enjoying watching these people climb. Do it.
No.
Oh my God. That is going to be, I'm putting that one for the wall.
Yeah, I can climb trees too, but the getting down part is always the most difficult. It's like a cat. I'll call the fire department. Like, there's a couple of cats in the tree. Oh, you're up there. Okay.
Okay.
Do it.
I'll stay right here.
I want to get up.
It's good 20 feet up there. Anyways.
I don't want to walk that like back down. Yeah.
That's what I am
What if we
saying.
switch up?
I could do that. You can go talk to me. I don't want to go. I have to get down. Well, I'm gonna lose my hoodie. Okay, where's that? Not gonna get this up. Okay, ready?
Oh yeah, they're right up. They're right up here. I'll show you. They're all up here in the tree.
Oh my gosh, I have got
You got that right there?
Yeah.
So there, I don't know. That's 20 feet up there. But I'll show you the tree in a second. It's
Try?
it's climbable, but they're like where they are. There's nothing really to hold on to. They'd have to risk it to get to the next part. Like I was gonna give them part of, like I have straps on here that they could wrap around something else and hold on to, but I don't know what else how much farther they go up there. Oh, these are the ground's soft. Don't even worry, but don't even look down. You know.
You're fine.
Yeah, hard pass for me, bro.
Yeah, once I got past you,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I don't even know if I would. To be honest, sorry.
I need a
Twin.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, there's a couple trees that if you can get up in the, like, see, like this one here, if you could get in the middle of it right there, there's like a cozy spot in there. A buddy of mine, the other tree, the big one I was telling them about that you guys have been at before, that I call Grandpa Tree. That's climbable. And when you get in there, like you could get in there and really like just take a nap in there. You could just chill in there. It's that big. Yeah, there's the copper right there. Although it's not really helping with my, I told you my pinky's a little screwed up right now. I got a little bit of arthritic kind of clogginess. But it could be because it's on too tight, and I've been wearing it for a few days. That might have actually caused part of the problem.
We are getting a workout today.
I'm dripping sweat at this point.
At least everything's
You guys need a mini trampoline.
Sorry.
the
Cheerleader
way
down or
to
no?
in front of you, not to the side.
Cheerleader it out? Well, I could stand here. Little thing. Oh, we knocked your little.
Oh, it's all good. Don't even worry about it.
You want me to grab you or you're not? I just need my. Where was it at? Still in shorts, climbing down trees.
So where y'all from?
I'm gonna scratch on my leg.
Colorado.
It's too big.
Colorado.
Yep.
Okay, it's a place I've never been. That everyone's always like, you should move there. I have not been.
Everyone tells me. Everyone I
Yep.
told that I moved here, they're like, "Why would you move? This my dream place to go." I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's pretty much the best place on the
Because
planet.
everyone's moving
It really
there
is.
and pushing
Yeah,
us out.
even despite everything, even
Yeah.
despite the hurricane, despite the nonsense that's going on in the world, the bigger
really,
nonsense.
Really beautiful here.
Yeah, it's too much fun.
I thought for sure you were just gonna jump, Brittany.
No. I got it.
She went smarter than both of you.
Wait, you moved here, or are you all moving here?
She moved here. So this is my youngest daughter, and these are my extra daughters.
Extra ones? The extra ones?
Yeah.
Like you guys are very extra.
Yeah. And she moved here to be with her boyfriend. So we all came this year to visit and hang out for last week.
What part of the city?
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah. So
Yes,
we're here.
yes. I've never been up there. I've had some of my girlfriends lived up there, but I've never been there. They always come down here because,
It's
well,
more fun here. It's cooler down
Yeah.
here. There's more to do here, I'll say.
oh, so much to do.
What is this little electric?
Probably,
Yeah, so the other tree, again, just go over this little bridge and then go to the left and you'll see two little small bridges, and then you'll see a couple big trees. And that one you'll be able to climb and get up in there.
What time is it? How much more time do we have?
I think like 40 minutes.
We have to be back.
First day of school, girl.
Hey, I've never had a first day of school.
I didn't do you close. I did it for. Thanks for chilling with us.
Yeah, cheers, y'all. Have fun.
You too.
A fiend. Well, I mean, a fiend. Yeah, friends oftentimes are fiends, are they not? What's up, Griff? I haven't seen you in a little bit. What's going on? Two beers, some coffee. We're doing good. I like this. I like the. I've been preferring mixing up my liquids lately. Less beer. A miniature amount of caffeine through coffee, and I always enjoy a little bit of cigar tobacco whenever I can. And then kratom has been awesome. Ad hoc to the what you call it? Ad hoc to the mixture. I would say that's my perfect, my happy place, a perfect buzz. A cigar, kratom, a little bit of coffee, some beers or wine. My happy place. And a hammock. Who's this? What's up, Timmy Richardson? What are you doing? Do I know you? Yeah, I seen that about the Matrix. It's called, what is it called? Resurrection? Did you see the previews for it? It's quite interesting. Does it need to be done? I don't know. I think it might be good. I don't think it's going to be what people expected it to be by any means, but I think it'll be interesting. But you know, like whenever you have that preview for a movie and it's 3 minutes long and you're like, I don't want to watch this because if you most of the time if you watch that 3-minute preview, then you don't even need to see the movie. You already got it. They gave the keys to the entire movie away. So I don't like watching previews for movies, but I did watch a piece of that. So it looks interesting. Usually usually you just go, I've just made the best trilogy ever. Usually movies, once you do a trilogy and it's good, you leave it the fuck alone. Hopefully they didn't fuck up by doing the fourth. Stan, is there any predictive programming? I'm sure there is, although I didn't look into it that hard yet. I did see some people already put out some info on what they seen in the trailer and saying it's a little different than what you think it's going to be, and they got into a little bit of the predictive programming, and maybe we could dig into that for a second as we're discussing films and predictive programming and magic, psychological, technological, and otherwise, and how reality is formed. Do all of the predictive programmings come true? Or do they have so many programs that are being pushed and predicted out that they're basically throwing a bunch of things against a board, and then if you look back, you go, oh, it all came true. But then what no one notices is that 80% of it didn't come true because not everybody focused on that. Because we have to realize that weather is I don't want to say it's a supernatural phenomenon, but it's not exactly what we think it is. It's part electric, part magnetic, part mental, part technological and co-opted by people spraying stuff in the skies and part people doing rain dances, part but when we think about it, our auric fields and our minds considering it, you know, how many times we said, oh, it's 100% chance of rain, and then people just don't pay attention to the weather that day. I've lived in cities where the weather said 0% in rain. I've been other places at 100% chance and it didn't rain. And then I been in places where whatever the weather says, what happened. And I've noticed the places that when the weather didn't necessarily follow the order of what Weatherman was saying were places where people visited that they weren't paying attention to the weather. Like, I don't think people come to New Orleans and pay attention to the weather. I don't think people go to certain parts of Florida and pay attention to the weather. I think they just assume it's going to be hot. They might look at what percentages, should they bring an umbrella. That's about it. But anywhere else, people are like, well, what kind of day is it going to be? And they're more projecting, they're enveloping the idea that was given to them as a predictive program, and then pushing the energy out into the larger system to make it occur. And what does weather have to do with predictive programming? It's exactly the same thing. So when these movies are longer term and bigger ideas trying to push a narrative and an idea, do they always come true? And the thing is, I don't think so. I think that if you made 6,000 guesses at what the world would be, and I give you 100, I give you 10 years worth of guesses, and I give you 10 years worth of guesses and 6,000 things. Then somebody comes along and goes, well, this one was right, and this one was right, and this one was right, and then they just go ahead and just rip out the pages where those ones didn't come true, and they go, look at all the things he got right. He was always right. Are we sure that's not what's happening? Because I think there's plenty of things that have been put in front of us as a species, as a population, that haven't come to fruition, and that will not. And there's other things that's kind of good that they did, and some of it it's predictive programming and producing some sort of universal mind, whether even if it's the hive mind, to do something and accomplish something for the realm, which is good, some of it, but doesn't mean it all comes true, good or bad. Oh, the red pill, blue pill? Yeah, because that's what people say a lot now. They got the red pill people, the blue pill people, and then they got the purple pill people. And I was always like, if somebody offered me the red and the blue, I don't want to fucking take either. How about that? How about that? Or how about give me both? Or how about where's the green one? Where's the other one? Well, how are you giving me two choices? But that dichotomy, the red-blue dichotomy, has always been the idea of the two realms, the water and the fire, the Mars and the Earth, the blue sky and the red, the warring planet of Mars, the fire, right? And everywhere we look, there's always that blue, the blue bloods, the red bloods. In your system, you have the blue that is the dirty blood, the red that is, as the blood goes through your system and then it gets oxygenated, and the oxygenation oxidizes and rusts the blood, it turns red. So there's that going on, and then there's the purple, right? And then when you mix them together, so there's always been a dichotomy. But I think the blue pill, red pill thing, yeah, certainly they made that a more, was anybody calling it a matrix prior to that? Very minimal. That we live in a matrix. What helped with that? That we started using computers, that we could understand the language, and that we say anthropomorphized? No, it would be more of a personification, where we take things and we give it human attributes. Let me try to explain this a little deeper. Get a sip of this here. Oops. What have I done? What have I done with my beer? Am I retard? Guess I need another beer. I guess I am retarded. Alright, Zen. Where's your brain at? Yes, I used myself in third person, which I don't do. I just thought it would be funny. Where were we at? Red pill, blue pill, personifying things. We could get farther into. Sometimes I don't do these talks too deep because I've done them so many times. But then again, I have to consider, I don't know who was here to listen, or if anybody has ever delved into or dived into the old work that I did, especially on magic and how things work. especially psychological magic, and I broke it down in a few different ways. That there is technological magic, there's psychological magic, there is, hey, look over here. There's the magic that is basically misdirection, technological, psychological, and real magic. 4 types. That's the way I would break it down. We have technological, which means things that we can do that that it just seems like magic. We're using so many technologies, like as a computer, for all intents and purposes, and considering what it is. I mean, isn't it magic that my screen is here taking a picture of me and you're seeing it in real time where you are? That's fucking magic. And there's all sorts of that kind of technological magic going on. And then there's psychological magic, which is using mind games to get people to perceive or see things, or see things differently, perceive things differently, because perception is key. Nothing really matters except your perception of it. And then there's misdirective magic, which is basically if you get somebody looking over here the entire time, you can just pull a magic trick. I can pull this cigar out of my butt. Me. And then there's real magic, which is literally that kind of mind magic where you can take and see. You can take metaphysics and to another level, where you can affect. Like say that I wanted to, and I don't want to, I'm not going to speak it, but if I wanted to create clouds and make it rain, I've done it. I'm certain I can. I'm 100% positive. And getting that kind of focus and getting your mind to do something to create a type of magic that it seems damn like there's no possibility that could have really occurred, then there's that kind of magic. Most people don't believe in that type of magic, but you can certainly show the magic that is done through using a technology and psychology, such as a television, to produce results. You seen Stan, the first Matrix in 3D? There's a couple that I seen in 3D, some later movies that I seen in 3D, and I was like super stoned, and that was out of control. It was like superhero movies too. I was like, oh my god, I was like, I'm fucking in the movie right now, dude. Fun times. Like a couple times I was like, I had to just consider whether or not I was breathing. You know, those kind of, you're in the 3D, like going, what the, holy shit. I might need to go take a break from this movie right now. Skull Wicked. Oh, thank you, Stan. As I will, yes, as Stan is so wonderfully been a constant reminder, because I hate doing the commerce thing, but yes, especially lately, cash has been kind of low, and between as I told you guys, hurricane down here caused a lot of chaos with things, and my general income, because I haven't been really doing videos lately, and a couple shit happened with my channel that fucked some things up. Oh yeah, and I can't access my rainy day fund, because I still do have a strike against my channel, so I can't even access my money through the YouTube whatever the hell they call it, AdSense. So I had a rainy day fund. I was going to use it right now, and I have a strike, and they're not letting me collect my money out of it, which is really, really frustrating. But anyways, so if you guys want to, Cash App, PayPal, all that. And if you need help any other way, you can see me at Theo Luminous, TheoLuminous, Theo Luminous, at gmail.com. If you have any questions about things that you don't want to talk about in here, or we can't talk about in here, feel free. And also hit me up on, connect with me, because my Instagram is starting to become just non-existent. because they already jammed up my first 3 channels when I had a lot of subs, and I can't access that anymore. So now I'm taking everything that I'm doing, because it's kind of set up the same way. I'm taking everything over to Telegram. You can see me on Telegram at my name, Zen_Atman. On IG at zen.atman, on Telegram at zen_atman. And again, it's set up the same way. You can talk to me just like you could on Instagram, and the page is set up where you can look through all the things, and I can post anything I want. There's no problems with freedom of speech and what you put together, anyway, what you put on there. So that's cool. So you guys can follow me over there. Peace out, Stan. Oh, Skull, I started watching it, man. I started watching it, and then my Hulu access got squashed because I wasn't paying for it. And the person that was paying for it canceled the subscription. So I only got through half of season 5, although it was getting good. I was really enjoying the new angle on the characters and how they were developing the characters in the show. I was enjoying that. I mean, they every season they did. It was very interesting. You got to, normally you watch a show and characters don't develop. Like it took, in something like American Dad or something like Simpsons, nobody develops as a character. It's the same character. That's just what you get. And then you got something like South Park where you got to watch a little bit of evolution of the characters. Still maintain a certain core, but they developed and they became larger characters. But Rick and Morty, they developed different different character traits and different that was interesting. In the first 4 seasons, there was just you seen growth. In the last season, it was like a different characters completely, which I really enjoyed. What's up, Anki? Would railroads be possible on a globe? Well, yes, they would. Everybody, you know what? When the FE community says that they wouldn't be, it's just ridiculous. That's not true at all. There's all sorts of things that go up hills. You ever seen a train go up a mountain, spiral up a mountain? There's nothing that says it needs to be flat. So I don't like that argument, because while they do try to maintain a flatness, and they're not trying to do any of this, especially if they're moving goods and cargo, it's very important that it stays flat and level so the cargo doesn't go anywhere. But whenever they're moving just like people, certainly up mountains, or if it was built that way, there's nothing that would cause it not to be a possibility. Especially at that 8 feet or whatever per mile squared, whatever that is. I don't remember what the math is on it. But nonetheless, it's so micro on how big each. Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You could definitely. So, but obviously, you know where I stand on the whole thing. I think we live in a realm, and I'm as sure as can be that it's not a flying ball through space in a heliocentric paradigm, blah blah blah. And I'm as sure as I could be that it's probably, the realm is pretty flat. Some of the things that they use as proofs, I don't like. I think they just that and that's one of them. But you know what though? I mean, even at this point, with all of the proofs, the easy ones that have been given, and then the people that argue it can't even see the simple proofs. Like there's so many simple ones out there, and like once there's some of them that if one of them exists, then all of the rest of the argument is done. You know, like if you can prove that water is level for a very long distance, which they have, game over. There's just no way you get around that. It's already you've lost. Nothing else you can say matters after this. Then you have to give me another. The only thing you could do is just say, okay, well, okay, I still don't believe the realm is flat. But you couldn't sell me the ball. There's too many things and there's too many when they say nails and coffins. There's too many simple ones that you just can't. All of the math and magic and nonsense and you can't get around. I mean, for me, it's like for the longest time I don't even argue these things anymore. For me, it's just like if someone really believes that and they'll argue for that, then they either haven't done the research, or they're ignoramuses, that they're lying, or they're paid to lie. I mean, I don't really know how to. There's only like three types of people basically. Like, you either just haven't looked at the information, you're ignoring what you're given as and so you have this cognitive thing that you can't even this boundary, or you're just straight lying, like. And then there's people that that's where it is. And there's a lot of things like that for me. Well, I can't even I'm just like I can't. There's people that I just can't fuck with you. I can't even conversate with you anymore. Like if that's how extraordinarily basic your mind is. I've had friends that I do not talk to, because they're so highly intelligent in so many things. I have a couple friends that they know all of the conspiratory things. They know all of it to be true. They understand how economies work. They understand how monetary systems and fiat works. They understand governmental issues. They understand pharmacies, pharmakia. They understand all of these things that it takes a very just well equipped, but the realm, the shape, they can't even. And I'm just like, how are you stuck to that? Just and everything else would be harder to explain to people. Like, this shit is just simple, but it is the most. I mean, to me, it's like there's some things that people believe right now that they'll argue, that I'm like, you're a 30-year-old that believes in Santa Claus. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, well, but you do. There's like 10 things right now that I could list off that if I asked someone and they weren't at least open-minded, they go, I don't know anything about that. If they say, I don't know anything about that, or I don't know, I'm curious about these things. Okay, cool. But if someone can unequivocally say, no, I've looked into it and no, that's wrong, then I can't even. I'm just like, all right, well, have a good day. It's not worth it. Not gonna waste my time. If you haven't figured it out, it's like even where we are right now, 19 months into this nonsense. If you didn't figure it out after about 6 months, it should have taken you about a month to figure it out. If you couldn't figure it out in 6 months, now this far in, no, now people are dead to rights committed. They've bought into it. They're eating it up, just spoon feeding themselves. Like, it's overwhelming. Skull, interesting. I mean, I do like the idea that we live inside of a. See, here's the thing is, and I can tell you how all the lies work. Okay, here's why politicians and all of these people get away with things. I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Because they're all actors. they they're like I don't. My job is not to uphold the things that these people think. I'm acting, and if you're an actor, you can in a movie. You know what you can do? You can do anything you want in a movie. You're not held responsible for anything. You can't be. It's just a movie. I'm just acting. So if they're all actors, they can do and say anything they want. It's of no regard. So why don't any of these people ever have to? Because everybody out here believes in the narrative, the story, which is all bogus to begin with. So not that they should be paying for anything, but because I don't know their lives, I don't know what they've done. I don't, everything. Well, but they said this and they said this and this is what they've done and they bombed this and they did. Like, are you sure? I mean, we certain of that? You sure that wasn't part of a script and an act that they're putting on TV? So that's why they don't pay for shit, right? And so that's one angle. So these people, part of that, that's all. Oh, it's acting. So what? You can't sue an actor for anything. Pretty simple. There you go. That's a pretty simple thing. And so here's the other thing with like the whole NASA thing. Okay, here's the other thing. If their way of speaking in this kind of multiple layers of bullshit. You know what they were trying to say to confuse people, but they didn't really completely lie. Oh, well, the Earth is a ball. It is a globe. We just happen to live inside of it. I get that idea. Like the snow globe, the dome, that kind of thing. Yeah, I could dig that, but then they're out isn't that easy. Well, I don't know why they said it that way. What we were saying was it's a globe that we live inside of on a flat thing. Because then you can spin that globe any you want, but the water is going to stay there flat, right? I mean, the whole thing could be, and here's the bigger thing is the whole ball thing could be in outer space. It could be on an ocean. If you put a ball, and inside of that ball you put water in that ball, and then you throw the ball into the ocean, it could be all over the place. But what's inside of that ball is not going to be affected by what's outside of it, and that ball could spin all over the place. But what's inside of it is going to stay level and flat. You can put a little something in there. It's always going to stay toward the bottom. Density, right? Lots of ways to get rid of the bullshit. Griff. Is it my view that outside of our maps? Yeah, the map, as again, the map is not the terrain, and the menu is not the meal. That's the way to say it. The menu is not the meal. So, and we're only given it, like, think about it this way. If you go to a restaurant, you can order what's off the menu. Try it. Like, hey, especially if you know somebody in the kitchen, or they hate cooking the same thing all day. They have all the ingredients. You go, hey, can I get, I really want this. You think they would mind making this? I'll pay whatever. They'll make it for you. You can get whatever's off the menu. You can get what's off the map. Point is certainly how would you know? You can't know. You don't have a frame of reference to know. You've never been there. You can't. I can't tell you for certain that Detroit looks like people say it does. I mean, I can kind of assess that because I know people from there, and I've seen pictures. I can kind of amass that kind of information, and because I've been to enough other cities and places and states to go, okay, these do look like what I thought prior to. So the information I was getting was valid. But outside of that, if we get into like the larger realm, you can't know that. So what it does seem like is there are realms, extraterrestrial, alien, outside of whatever are where we are. Of course, I think it goes. When you say infinite, it just means goes on to as far as you can imagine. Because once you can't imagine, I mean, there's your boundary to infinity. But it's still infinity to you. How far does this go? How far do you want it to go? I don't know. Kind of like seeing oases and shit. People would explore in real life. Well, I think I don't know that they would. Not now. Well, there's too many restrictions on doing that. Most importantly, for people, is money. Oh, well, that's the most important. But even if most people had the money, they still wouldn't explore anyways, because there'd be too much of a fear. And then you have all of the stoppers, right? You can't go beyond here. You can't go beyond. Can't go to Antarctica. Why would it? It's so cold there. Like, who's going? How far are you going to go into Canada? Like, why go that far up there? Like, I've known people that lived in Alaska, which is something they wanted to do because that was part of their, college. They really wanted to study blah blah blah, and the place to study that would be Alaska. So I know people that lived there, and what their life, that was, how they lived their life, and they were kind of hippie-ish. They were kind of like they liked the cold, blah blah. But the majority of people, why would they leave their comfy life? Not that it's even comfy. Even somebody just has an uncomfortable life, they wouldn't leave it to go explore the complete unknown. It's kind of like the movies, basically every great adventure story. Right, The Hobbit. He's sitting there chilling with all the others, smoking the pipe, eat, dancing, and like, let's go on an adventure. Like Lord of the Rings kind of shit, the Hobbits, let's go on an adventure. And they're like, don't really want to. Why? What would the purpose? Well, see, we live in a society now where people aren't even living nice, and they still wouldn't choose to go and and how could they afford it? How could they finance it? Like, really, I mean, I love it in New Orleans, but if I had my all-day pass to go anywhere I wanted and I could financially do it, I'd be making these videos from everywhere for you guys. But all in all, like, I've been to enough places to go, it's kind of the fucking coolest place. Like, I don't really, where else to go? I got nice weather, lovely people, great music, best food, best people, best music. What's the but if I had enough funding, and I had my all day fucking go anywhere you want pass, here you go, Zen. Anywhere you want to go, don't even worry about it. Here, get on. Here's a jet, go. Oh, I would take you guys all places. I'd travel anywhere. Because I like adventures, but when adventure around the U.S. to more podunk towns and more strip malls and more what did Tennessee Williams say? There's only 3 places. There's only 3 places in the United States. I think he said it's Chicago, San Francisco, and New Orleans. Now, obviously, if he said that, I think he's leaving out New York City, but I don't know if he said New York, San Francisco, and New Orleans. But pretty big. Whether it's New York or Chicago, I mean, that's a pretty big claim to make. And so, like, everywhere else, and he said there's only Chicago, San Francisco, and New Orleans. Everywhere else is Cleveland. I mean, and truthfully, if you've been to a lot of towns, like, it's set up the same way. It's the same kind of people, same kind of attitude, same strip malls. If you knew one town, you know how to get around in another town. It's gonna be set up the exact same way. I'll tell you exactly. You could probably do it blindfolded. Go down this street. Over here on the right, there's gonna be a strip mall in the front. On the left over here, that's gonna be an Outback Steakhouse. Over here will be a Denny's. Then go down this way, take a right, and then the Home Depot's over there. It's gonna be set up the same way, just like your local supermarket is. You don't think it's played out that way? But then you get places that are not like that. But yeah, just finishing that up again. The finance for most people. I don't think most people have that much curiosity to begin with. Curiosity, and they think that what's already been explored and all you got is and if it's a ball, it's only as big as the ball is. It's all can be explored. It's done. Where else are you gonna go? But if it's realms outside of this, that you could go infinitely in any direction, and then you have lots to explore, lots to do. Who knows what you might see? Or maybe go down a road. Or maybe there's something up there. If we open that open that hatch up and go up through the ocean above us, and maybe there's some, maybe something above that. Who knows? But I don't think people, A, financially, or B, mentally would want to. What's up, Enki? Infinite holographic grid. Yeah, kinda. I mean, I try to not get too deep into we live inside of a matrix or a hologram, or although I get the idea of the holographic reference, and I do think we live on a computer board. I do think that, but I don't think we live in like some sort of digital thing. Like I get it when we take enough psychedelics or fast enough, and you can get out of body and you can kind of see different things, and we get the different frequencies, and yes, that exists. But obviously, this tree is here and it's going to be here, and making the tree vanish would be quite a so to get to that point, I think we'd have to as a species be at least a little more forthright with where we live, so that people can at least, for what we see, explore it. Because people have never seen giant. Some people haven't seen palm trees. Some people haven't seen giant redwoods. Some people haven't been to a city and seen giant buildings like in New York. There's all these places that people just haven't even explored, just to begin with, before we even talk about getting outside of that. So to suggest to people that just came out of a small town in the Midwest, or even that lived their entire life in a major city like New York or whatever, to just go, no, this is all the matrix and it's all in your mind and you need to start adjusting reality and da-da-da. Yeah, that's I think that's so far. I think that's so far down the line. I mean, it does work, and that's magic, and it's kind of a collective consciousness thing. But I think that's a little ways away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Griff. There you go. You could really. You could take a print. You could just take a print and just print it over here, town for town. There's not. It's, especially when you consider how computer grids and these motherboards, Mother Earth motherboards, how they're printed, and how look at the cities. They're kind of designed that way, and to think on another level of. There'll be little different things going on within cities because of the amount of people there, the amount of energy, the landscape. There's gonna be a few things that might change, but all in all, like they're not changing it from city to city. What would be the purpose? I mean, the real purpose is, hey, let's design each city to be its own hub of energy, and you can design. I mean. A computer board doesn't need to be designed the way it is. You could do it many different ways. They're just doing it efficiently on a micro level, and now we see the macro of it. So they're just doing how can you make squares and rectilinearity. Like, look at the movie Tron. It's essentially that. But in reality, what you could do is like, okay, every city should be its own unique city. I mean, and there are some places that have that. San Francisco, New Orleans, Chicago. I mean, but Chicago is still another imprint of other cities. But then you have other small towns that kind of, Portland, perhaps, parts of Boston. I mean, you get these certain little pockets of, that's an original kind of Phoenix. You get these certain kind of pockets that are, it's its own feeling, its own energy. But everywhere else is the same damn thing. It's like I've seen that already. Already messed with that. Already seen that game. Yeah, how every town probably does. Yeah, and even ones that don't have, like, you know, because obviously what you have is franchise, and those franchise are going to work a certain way. Hold on, I keep sliding down in here. So even if you don't have a Papa John's and a Domino's and a Sbarro's, you do have the same type of vibe. Like, hey, that's Frank, that's Joe, that's the guy who's been around. He's been making the best pizza, and that's Grandma. She's making the best pie, and that's what's been around, and that's the one. Yeah. But every town's got that, right? Everywhere's got that. It's got their little spot where they go like, that's where the goodness comes from. And then what they did is they, you found that one good one that you go, wow, that's amazing. Let me show you how to franchise this. And then they just started franchising that name, that idea, which is great to begin with, because if Mama Stuzia or whatever, she makes the best pasta, whatever, great. And we should probably put that in other cities. Maybe not all of them, because you should have to have Michelin ratings to get around. And how far should you have to get off the highway to find this little gem, right? So that's great to have just one-offs. But you know what? Let's try to put that in a few more places. That'd be great. But then what happens? Hey, well, we got to make a little more money, so, well, what kind of tomatoes we're using? Yeah, well, those ones are a little expensive. We're not using heirlooms anymore. And all of a sudden, ooh, shit, we're changing the recipe. No, it's the same recipe. Yeah, but using shitty products. And then everything about that hometown feel, everything about that made that place is no longer that place. You can't reinvent the original thing. I mean, if you're completely honest, Kobe Bryant is Michael Jordan, like a mimicry in every way. It's the same game. He has the same tooth removed, same height, just about the same body type. Everything was exactly the same, except for statistically, the field goal percentage and the efficiency percentage, it's not even close. And in fact, Kobe's efficiency is garbage, because he tried to be more Jordan than Jordan. And again, if we got into, are these robots? Are they just mimicking something? Is it just the same number? Blah blah blah. Oh, then he went to 24 and 8. We play all that games, but the idea again was the first little shop that was made. That was the first place that did the best pecan pie. Then as soon as it gets too far from that original place, you ain't even got the same pecans, you ain't got the same energy, you ain't the same vibe, it ain't the same damn thing. And you can prove it yourself. Ask your grandma for her recipe. Whenever you go to her house and she makes meatballs and spaghetti. Right? Simple thing. But her meatballs are dope. She'll tell you exactly what she puts in them. She tells you exactly what goes in there. And you could make that same thing at your house, and I guarantee you could follow it down to a T. It's not even close to the same tasting. Why? From a physical level, you have different pans. Are you using the exact same spices from the same place? Have those spices been sitting in your house or her house? What's her house smell like to begin with? Whose energy was, then we get into the psychic phenomenon, the energetic phenomenon. Hey, I cook it for an hour and I stand there and I listen to this music. Well, you listen to that music, are you cooking it for an hour in the same pan? I mean, you need to, it would have to be an exact replication, and it's not going to be, and it will taste different. I guarantee it will, and it won't taste as good. And then you got that, say, put a little love in there. That's a true thing. That's the true thing. Is like you ever because you love doing something. You go to someone's house and they have garbage for food in there, but somehow you're like, I'll make this work. And they're like, why is this so good? Because I fucking care about what I'm doing. Because I don't care what spices you got. We'll make this work. You know? Or other people like to, you could give them the whole meal right in front of them, and all you gotta do is put this together, and it turns out garbage. Because they don't give a shit. Yeah, melted circuit board. The more you look at it, man, these buildings were something. Well, they might have still been buildings. They were something else as well, and they definitely got melted. These mountains, some of them were trees, some of them were buildings, but they definitely appear to have been melted through some sort of plasmic or electrical event. There's a fountain. Skull, you got to take pictures of that and send that to me. I want to see that. It's close enough where you can go there. Keep the pavement dry. Interesting, because somebody might get electrocuted because the fountain itself is actually garnering electricity. That's what it's getting at? Yeah, the pavement needs to be part of this live circuit board. Exactly. You know one of the greatest cities that I think I did a video on it a long time ago, and if I didn't, somebody else has. And if you can find it, go for it. It's called I don't want to say it's called Turkistan. It might be Turkistan. It's this really interesting city that it has some of the most amazingly crazy highest, like you like to go there you have to like ask to go there. The city is perfectly clean. People go there and work there just to clean, because they're not just cleaning the city, they're cleaning the technology. The technology, there's these big giant things all over the place that they say are just there as attractions to look at. No, they're harnessing power. Like when you see these, it's not Turkmenistan. If somebody knows the name of the city I'm talking about, type it in there. I don't know why it could be right, but I think it's something else. And it is, literally the city is one of the cleanest, most beautiful places you could ever imagine. And it's just like in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of a desert making water, you know what I'm saying? Giant is like gold plated everything, and everything is just, you can, and you know, knowing what we know, you look at it and you go, that's not just, nobody just built that. That's for technology, that's for harnessing electricity or energy of some sort, whether you call it electricity or not. And so a lot of pictures you'll see of the place, they'll take the pictures in the afternoon, and there's not a lot of people out, like because it's 100 degrees in the afternoon. So people that are there, like some people go out and clean during the day, and at night everything is lit up, but the sun's down, so the temperature is perfect. So everyone that lives there comes out at night to eat and have a party and a good time, and and the whole city is lit up because it got powered all day with the electricity from the sun. And now it's cooler, and so at nighttime when you see pictures, it's a bustling, booming city. But daytime, you'd be like, oh, is that city empty? Like, no, people are chilling inside right now. They might be napping. They might be in the air conditioned ass big ass hotels in their houses. But yeah, what else? What else should we get into here? You want to talk more about like ancient technology and shit? See, when I talk about this, I never know who's here completely listening. So what they already know, and what is just very simple. Like it's kind of like when you know they say the rabbit hole or whatever. It's kind of like once you know a few of these things, and then next time you see something that is kind of for like before you would have just assumed it's nothing, and then when you first started studying things, you go that's confusing. Then you start to look at things and go, oh, I know what that was. Oh, I know, I can figure it out. I know what that's used for. Like I'm sitting here looking at this old, you call it a Tatarian Empire building. Huge doors. Now it's a museum, right? That's what it was used for. It wasn't. That's not what it was built. It wasn't built when they say. There's no way. Not a chance. Not the size of the rooms, not the size of everything in there. It's built for a different, completely different purpose. It's like a lot of houses down here too. Big ass houses. They got like, 10 to 12 foot ceilings. My question is why? And they go, oh, because they didn't have air conditioning, and the high ceilings help keep the place cool. I'm like, ugh. And I'm looking, and like I've lived in a couple houses, old ones, that had fireplaces. But I'm like, you'd never in New Orleans build a fire. I've only one or two times thought that I needed to build a fire, like that I would have ever used a fireplace for anything. It's only snowed down here once or twice. And even at that, you still don't even need a fire. So I'm like, why do so many places have fireplaces? Big ass houses, 12 foot ceilings. It's just a question. Because there'd be no reason to build something that big. You wouldn't need 12 foot ceilings. That doesn't change anything. Then you would just change where the windows were. You take the windows and you put them higher, and then open the windows up. Let all the heat escape out the top of the window. No, that's not how they're built. So you look at old circuses, carnivals or fairs, and you see merry-go-rounds or giant. What are those big things? That everybody gets the Ferris wheel. Are we sure that that's when you look back into them and how elaborate they were and what they were? Was that really to put people on as a ride? I mean, perhaps it was always as well used as that, but was that the original purpose for it? Or were those installed later and just because they didn't know what purpose was, or just to disguise it? Because let's build this big thing, and for people to get on and go around in a circle, or was there a different purpose for that? I don't know how long I've been at the point where it's like basically every aspect of our reality is completely faulty, false narrative, false history, completely something that it's not. How much of it is, how much have we been given that's Enki, there you go. Exactly, man. Ashgabat, thank you. Yeah, it's Ashgabat. Thank you, Skull. That's correct. Yes. And how perfect that was. I think they surviving that. I think maybe they were firewalled off. You know what I mean? Maybe they lucked out, or maybe the way the system, there were breakers and and they worked in certain places. Some places it burnt through the breakers and toasted everything down, and that survived. And that was actually ancient shit. That's a good possibility, and they know, and they still remember how to use it. Yeah, the air conditioning units. Well, yeah, I mean, to open those up and let the air out, that's a possibility too. But I mean, when we look into like the the people that have really done some next level work on what the fireplaces were, because they weren't for fires, they were electromagnetic static plasma. I don't know, there was like a plate behind it, there was a whole thing going on. So a lot of people have done that work. That seems most relevant, but it does seem also that the fact that there are chimneys to let out air, to let as a cooling system, for sure. I can see that, definitely. But yeah, Enki, and people see. Then I don't know. You know, during that experiment, I don't know what they were told. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how much did they know, and how much of that experiment that was going on where now it seems to be canvassed the entire obviously the whole realm, and it's more of, to me, it's more of an IQ test, and are you willing to do your own thinking, use any critical thinking that you have left. You have the whole computer in front of you, do some research. What would you come up with as a possible, why is this occurring? Where back then you had maybe a little more trust in medical establishments, a little more trust in doctors, a little more trust in, if there was a possibility, in government, a little more investigative journalism, not the fourth, what do they call it, the fourth arm or the fifth arm or the third arm of the government. Where that wasn't necessarily what it is now, as the tool that it is. Like my girl over here, she's wearing a mask right now, walking around in the park. It's saddening. It's sad. It's like, hi, there's a little butterfly. Hey, what up, Flutterby? What are you doing? Come over here. Well, hopefully he comes over and you can see him. If it's a he, might be a she. And I seen the other day, there was, right near the lake, there was two chicks sitting down next to the lake. Nobody within 100 meters of them. They're sitting maybe 8 feet apart. They both are wearing masks, trying to have a conversation. So all I hear is the mumble of the conversation, because as I'm walking kind of towards where they are, and I notice that they have masks on, and I'm like, if you just take the masks off, you can talk. There's nobody even, like, to be that lost that you're outside at a park with a mask on. I mean, I don't know what's worse. In your car alone with a mask? Riding a bicycle with a mask? Or being in a park? I don't know. Like, it all seems so far from reality in any way. Like, how could this like, if you were to program a video game, you would be like, this is so stupid. Like, who did this? Like who would buy this? Who would believe it? It's like I'd have an easier time believing that the Super Mario Brothers, that game, there's more reality than what's going on with what people are doing these days. Like, I would believe that. I believe that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles could actually be a possibility that actually exists. Like, the shit that's going on now, even 20 years ago, if someone said this was a possibility, you'd laughed. 10 years ago, you'd have laughed. 5 years ago, you'd have been like, yes, you're ridiculous. Even 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, you still would have been like, no, there's no way. No, people aren't that dumb. Ashgabat. I like that. It's called. Don't forget to do that if you can. I want to see that. Don't I want to see that, or maybe you know what, or at least email me or put it beneath one of the videos and tell me what the name of it, the place is, so I can just Google it and look at some pictures on there. So you don't need to do anything, because I want to see where it says that. Don't go onto the, don't get the sidewalk wet or whatever. What's up? What's up, Shadeson? A Porsche wagon. A Porsche too. Oh, and she working in a hospital with face shield, goggles, glasses, and 2 masks. People see. I wonder too. Okay, do you remember? Do you remember? Was it called Keeping Up with the Joneses? Is it the one where we have a lot of these. You've ever heard of guerrilla marketing? And there's what you think is normal people walking around with shopping bags, like they're paid a small amount of money to go do something. Like, here, just walk around with this shopping bag, and talk about it. Go to go places and talk about how cool this place, and that's guerrilla marketing, right? And there's people that were basically lived in a house that they were there as the how did they say it? You know how in the neighborhood there's the show house where people just come in and they just look at the house. No, nobody knew it. They were just like supposed to be the perfect family. So everybody liked the neighborhood. Moved the value of houses up. People wanted to come and buy things there. They would get a nice car, keeping up, and so everybody tried to keep up with them. So the person you're talking about, what if they're like, hey, listen, I'll let you drive around this Porsche. Here's what you gotta do. Put 2 masks on, put some goggles on, put some scrubs on, put this on. I'll let you drive around a Porsche. Do you know how many people would take that? Because I've seen and I've heard that there's, now that so many people from hospitals quit or got fired. Most of them quit, right? Stupid of them. They should have, insisted on being fired for a bunch of reasons. But I seen a bunch of ads for people to work in hospitals, and the pay was really good for something really stupid. It wasn't even like doing. I don't even think you needed to be a nurse or anything. It was just doing like something in a hospital that would basically like pay $4,000 to $6,000 a month, which is good money for somebody to do next to nothing. But they were probably just had to be around people with the stuff, with the thing. He said, "Hey, Shadison. So what I'm saying is, what's the chances that person, like, I'm not saying people aren't completely lost, brain dead, and that person isn't completely scared out of their gorditas, out of their gourds, that their brain doesn't work. That lack of oxygen, that much fear, that much trauma, and they already work at the hospital. I could understand, but there's also the possibility that they just go ahead and guerrilla market that shit. Paid somebody next to nothing. Here, drive a Porsche around and wear this. Go in and go do whatever you do every day. Just drive this. Keep this on, because nobody's gonna want to talk to you anyways. You don't have, like, you don't even have to have any social skills. Just go, just drive the car there and do this. And they can hire anybody. You know why? Somebody in scrubs and all that. No one's gonna be like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, you're a nurse. Oh, what kind of, you're not gonna have that conversation because no one's gonna ask you. So it doesn't even matter. You could have been a stripper yesterday. How many chicks do you think that were now that strip clubs ain't open because of the whole thing? Now, what do you think? What do you think jobs they're working now? You sure that that's not one of them? How many chicks did you know they were strippers and nurses, but they made more money? This is a true story everywhere. They're a stripper because they make more money, but they're a nurse because they want to help people, and because they want to have, like, they when somebody asks them what they do, they're a nurse. Mm-hmm. mean, how mad do they got to get around Halloween when all these chicks go out and they dress up as like slutty nurses for Halloween? When these other chicks, that's their life every day. They're just slutty nurses. What's up, Shobes? What's going on? Wow, Ninja, that's crazy. Did you just say, nah, don't even talk to me? That's crazy. There you go, Lord Enki. Thank you. Yeah, do that. do that. I mean, the real thing would be is how, you know, as I've talked to people about this idea before, and I like a lot of the things that are going on. I like the fact that schools aren't going to be open. I like the fact that teachers are not going to be there. I like the fact that teachers are quitting, because it's literally an indoctrination center to make people stupid, and it's not healthy. Nothing about school systems are healthy. So I'm happy with that. And I'm happy that some hospitals have less staff and closing down and blah, blah, blah. You know why? Because there's too many people that have Munchausen's. There's too many people that go to hospitals because they have they always over exaggerate about how sick they think they are. So they, you know, I mean, how many people do you know that just go to the hospital for the simplest and stupidest things? Well, insurance will pay for it, and then everybody's got, I got to pay hospital bills this month. Well, insurance will pay for most of it, but we gotta, you know, it's gonna cost me $50. Oh, someone's sneezing. We gotta go take them. Like, you know, people that just overreact, and they're I always forget the name of it, whatever that's called. When people always think they gotta go to the doctors. Well, now those people don't show up. So now the people that do need help, the actual doctors that can help, the people that have serious traumatic injuries that need help and the doctors can help, and the people that have serious other traumas and injuries that the small amounts of the pills and pharmaceutical companies, there is a small amount of stuff that is very helpful and is very, very much needed. But now all of those things can be used rather than the overabundance and reliance on the pharmaceuticals and the doctors that don't really need to be there because somebody stubbed their toe. You know what I'm saying? Hypochondriac, thank you. Hypochondriacs. Yeah. So now we get rid of that. So there's two parts of the system that are imploding. And then, but like, how quickly could they implode the system without causing, as Enki was saying here, how quickly could you implode the system without causing complete, absolute havoc and breakdown of all social structures that would cause like literal beyond chaos? You'd have to topple certain things to a degree, you know. Shows, how do I know that 50% of the comments are not bots? That goes back to the beginning of the video. Listen to the beginning of the video. Basically, I was reading a couple articles from 2017, 2019, saying that YouTube, at least between 40 and 52% of comments are bots, and I'm saying that it's probably even more than that at this point. And then you have trolls, and then you have people that are actually typing that aren't algorithms or bots. So I'm saying that the number is even more than that. And that means you don't have to worry about all the silly arguments you get with people. You know, Instagram too, right? So I think the number is even higher. 70% perhaps. The Munchausen's that's the other one. So hypochondriacs and Munchausen's by proxy. Munchausen, is that when you eat a whole house? You got the munchies for the houses. Yeah, that's when you get really stoned and you got to eat the house. Yeah, Munchausen's by proxy means that they make you feel sick when you're not. You know, your parents maybe were hypochondriacs, and then by their hypochondriac nature and being helicopter parents would make you believe you're sick when you weren't, and then it became a maybe not self-fulfilling, but it became kind of a what's the other word for it? Psychosomatic, became somewhat psychosomatic, where a lot of times you just go, oh, I guess I'm sick. That's what they said. They'll convince you you're sick, and you're like, I'm not actually. Like, I'm good. Like, I mean, that's what they're trying to do now in the whole thing, right? Interesting. I get you on that. The stock up your homes. I get it. That makes sense too. Because if everything's going to go, yeah, you got to get all. And so what's the process? What's happening? Why do the stores end up without things? Not because they're not getting more stuff coming in, because so many people freaked the fuck out. They went to the store and bought all the toilet paper and bought all the canned goods, and then the store is empty, and then everybody starts freaking out. But there was nothing in the supply chain that was planning on that happening. So it's not like they're magically going to have more shit. But then the people that had it, they start stocking everything. Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. Yeah, Enki, I've been saying that for a long time, that if everything is upside down and backwards, consider the value of copper versus the value of silver versus the value of gold monetarily, what it says, and think about the value of a crystal, and think about the value of a diamond. Now, in real world, what has the most use and what has the most real value? A crystal, way more than a diamond, not even close. It's not even close. Diamonds are there's not much that you can do with them. There are certain things, but because they're so plentiful, they're not that valuable. But yet they've artificially inflated that. And what can you do with silver? What can you do with copper? Or excuse me, what can you do with gold? You really don't know. But I can tell you certainly that copper has a lot of uses, but it is the least valuable of the three. However, there's way more use for copper than there is for gold or silver. Now, if you want to get into it and say, oh, silver spoons and the antibacterial, antifungal, yeah, but there's a lot of things that could account for that. All in all, copper still has more real world value to it, a true, absolute, usable value. Gold, what do people do? People eat that, put it in food, flakes of it. What do people normally do? They just wear it. Yes, can you use those two things in certain types of high-level technologies? Certainly, but that still doesn't diminish the fact that you don't need a lot of it, and it's not as valuable as you think. Everybody's like, oh, buy gold and buy silver. For what? What can you do with it? If tomorrow everything went to nil, and I gave you a brick of gold, a brick of copper, and a brick of silver, right? Or if I gave you a bushel of apples, you know what I mean? What is the most usable thing for you? Well, it's the apples, and then the copper, and then the silver, and then the gold. You'd be like, gold, cool, it's shiny, but what can I do with it? Copper, you can run electricity, and you can use it with magnets, and there's all sorts of things you can do with it. It has lots of worth to it. How about a crystal? Crystals are next. They're not even that expensive, but apparently they grow on their own, and they maintain a frequency, and you can use them to make watches work. You can put pressure on them and cause piezoelectricity to happen, but they're next to nothing but a diamond that is actually a rock that you need to cut and shave yourself to make it into anything even shiny to look at. But the crystal just grew that way, and it already has power. And you're telling me, one, I can get at the store for something this big for $2, or if I was to find a piece of, and it doesn't even look good, and it's like, oh, that's a diamond, and somebody polishes it and shines it up, and that would be worth, $100,000. That's insane. Yeah, I see. Hey, Skull, I just see that too. Because you'd have to think, like, have you guys not already been doing that? I'd assumed you guys already were. Maybe they just didn't tell you. I mean, really, what, hey, they've been doing that all over the realm for how long? I mean, maybe that's just another test, like, that if you don't know by now how bad that shit is, and you're gonna just, the population, like, because there's so much shit going on now. There's so much shit going on now that just flies by, like, oh, who cares? Just add it to the mix of the shit that people got to deal with, right? Piss of the Gur cows. Well, yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't doubt it. If you're familiar, Manischewitz, the Jewish wine, the grape juicy dark Concord grape wine. That was very important for a lot of reasons, because Concord grapes grown in the right soil have micro amounts of gold in it. So that was the purpose. Like, they're literally drinking gold. And then we can get into, that movie Dune, and what the melange, the spice melange is, and how it make basically gold, to a sense, to the spice to make people's eyes glow and be bright. I mean, certainly, there's no doubt gold has a value and does something. Certainly, silver does too, but if you can get out of grapes. Speaking of things that contain elements, apparently the first where women started to first get yeast infections was because of witches that would what they were told to do is make bread for their lover. Like, they wanted to put a spell on a man to be infatuated and like them, and what they would do is they would make them bread, and they would sit on it, and they would knead the dough, but they were using, at the time when they first came out, like, you had unleavened bread and other things, and then they started putting yeast in the bread, and then the yeast got into the women, and women started getting yeast infections because of that. Interesting story. Yeah, I think it's just one more thing they just, I don't think it ever wasn't. Although you could probably look it up if you should just look up water treatment plants, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Maybe y'all didn't. Maybe you didn't have those water treatment plants. But then again, I mean, as we explore all of the things that have some sort of chemical in it that is altering us or negatively affecting our health, I mean, it's kind of the least of our worries, especially considering most people don't drink enough water to begin with. Mm-hmm. Oh man, this spot here is so cozy. Don't really got to deal with anybody. Close enough to a little bit of human action. I got a good place to take a piss. I got close enough to home base, and go see my ducks in a minute. And I'll remind all the new people in the background here, if you want to ask a question that you might need help with, feel free. If it's health related, and you don't know me, you ought to get familiar, fool, because I know quite a bit about a lot of different things, especially herbs and the general principles of health and well-being. Feel free to ask a question. And if you've been entertained for these last 3 hours or whatever, you got a nickel or a dime or something, this is how I earn a living, rather than begging on a street corner for change whilst doing nothing to help other people. I come out here and do this and ask for donations. So if you want to, CashApp, PayPal, and Venmo. It's in the description box beneath. Appreciate it. You look in the bottom of your distiller. Yeah, I mean, whenever I look in the bottom of the distiller, it's weird. Some places I've lived, the kind of things that are in there, like, it's really interesting. Sometimes it's just the hard, limey, calcium-y, whatever buildup. And then other places I've been, it gets this kind of gooey kind of film that when I take the thing off, and I could kind of put my finger and I scrape it through, and it's not hard. There's the hardened thing on there. There's the calcium buildup and the lime and everything else and whatever else is in there. But then there's, depending on where I live, then there's this kind of creamy, weird shit that I'm like, ugh. And it's always funny whenever I go and after I do it a few times, and then I clean it, I just look at how dirty and filthy the water is that what I cleaned off the walls. I'm like, and when people don't believe me and don't get it, I'm like, you drink tap water. Okay, how many gallons of tap water do you assume you go through a day, a week? A gallon a day with everything you do, cooking and drinking. And let's say you go through 7 gallons. Let's say you go through 7 gallons a week. I'll take 7 gallons and put it through this distiller, and then afterwards, what I'll do is I'll clean it out, and then I'll just clean it out and I'll put it in a shot glass for you. I guarantee you, no one would want to smell that and take a shot of that. They would vomit. But if I take that 1 shot glass of that, and then I take 7 gallons of clean water, pure, clean distilled water, and I put that in there, you wouldn't even see it, and you would drink it, and you would just assume that's good. But you wouldn't take that 1 shot of that dirty, filthy, whatever the hell came out of there. It's crazy. Wait, Skull, are you serious? Negative? Are you in the negative? Or did you mean 504 negative? No shit, dude. Fucking sucky ducky motherfucky. Shit, if I had that to give you to get you back to 0, I'd help you out. In fact, if YouTube wasn't holding my shit hostage right now, I could have probably helped you with some of that. But no, cannot even access it. Yeah, it's like silvery white and it's like pasty. I don't know what the fuck it is. Like if I knew somebody that worked at a lab, I would send them that and say, tell me exactly what's in here. What's up, Melvin? I haven't seen you in a long time. You got here kind of late, 3 hours into this whatever the hell I'm talking about today. This ridiculousness as I'm just swinging around on this hammock here, enjoying this delicious autumn day and this fine cigar and a beer and some coffee. Speaking of coffee, is there such thing as a portable ice maker? I mean, could that even be, on a small scale? Could that be done to make it even economical? Like, could you get enough power through? I mean, if I just wanted like a personal thing for my bag to make me just enough ice, could I get enough power from a solar panel and all the gadgetry and shit to have a condenser and whatever to make ice? Could that happen? Is that available? Is there a higher technology to basically to pull heat out of something to make it cold? I don't know. Because I was just thinking as I'm sitting here drinking this coffee, it'd be so nice if I had some ice cubes. And I could go over to this coffee shop and buy ice. They won't give you ice for free because it's so hot here. If everybody went up there and asked for ice, they'd be out of ice. So they charge you for it. Well, Skull, that's nice. I mean, at least you had an overdraft limit, dude. Most people were dealing with no. Do you remember growing up? I mean, I remember how many times growing up, overdrafts. I remember one time I had overdrafted at 2 places. Like I went somewhere and then went somewhere else, and they both let me overdraft. I'm like, why would you let me do it? And then I owed $70 to the bank. I'm like, how can I $70 for overdrafted $1.50 at 2 places? Like, how can you do that? And then, they were like, all right, we'll give you one of them back, but blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, that was always one of my favorite jokes about, like, if you got $1 million in the bank, we'll give you money, but if somebody has not enough money, we're gonna take more money from them and give it to the people that have more money. That is some Robin Hood shit right there, huh? Well, in reverse. That's hood robbing. Get it? Because they robbed from the hood, hood robbing. Because if you don't have a lot, they took from that and then gave it to rich people. That'll teach you to need ramen noodles. So it costs you $35 for 70 cents worth of ramen noodles and some PB&Js. Well, that now is going to cost $35, and that, don't worry, we're going to give that money to somebody else that has $100,000 in the bank because they deserve it. Because you obviously don't know how to deal with your finances. Gotta love interest, inflation, and income tax. Okay, Skull, so you're saying you can run a mini 220 volt freezer on an inverter and a panel. Yeah, here's what I'm saying. When you say on a panel, I'm saying I have my backpack. Okay? Consider I have like one of those army backpacks, right? It's always funny whenever I wear it, they're like, oh, what infantry or whatever you in? Because I got just one of these joints. One of these things here. Right? So somebody's always like, oh, what are we? I was like, do I look like I was in the, military armed services? I mean, it's fun time. Sometimes it gets me things. Like, I mean, it gets me a conversation, definitely. And, like, a little bit like, yeah, man, like, what's up? Sometimes you get kind of like a nod from someone like, Yeah, I mean, cool. Thanks for your service or whatever. I didn't. I mean, anyway, so I have that, and I want to make it like if I could I put it in there and it'd be feasible that it wouldn't be too heavy, and I could just carry it around with me. That's what I'm saying. And so you're saying that panel? You're saying like a solar panel? How big does the solar panel have to be though? Because like I got this thing here, and this only gives me enough charge to, like my phone is already not using this anymore. So I got another one that's a little bigger, and I don't know what kind of amperage we're looking at. I don't know what that would look like to have a condensing unit, how much amperage that you would need to, electricity you need to put to that to make me ice cubes. I guess you could kind of multitask it. You could have a dehumidifier that sucks it out of the air and then freezes it. Wonder how long that would take. Yeah, I'm just spitballing here, man. Hmm. Oh, anybody in the future, if you're ever feeling, you know, froggy and fresh, if you ever come upon some dollars, I am not an expensive date, but if you buy me some of these, you can send them to me. You just ask me where to send them. That'd be really great. They're called Cuban rounds. Taste of Havana. These are cheap. I don't know why they're so cheap, because they're excellent. Some of the best. This is one of the best cigars I ever had, and they're mad inexpensive. And they were so inexpensive that I bought way too many of them. Like I was like, because honestly, it was like the only place open, and I was like, oh, if it's the only place open, and people, it's a tobacco shop, and a couple other places like got ruined, trees falling on places. So if you didn't understand this, like a lot of places got fucked up in New Orleans, and so even some of those places, cigars probably they lost their entire stash, because it's, you gotta have electricity, you gotta be running those humidifiers, you gotta can't have it too hot in there. It was like 90. I mean, luckily it was humid, so maybe they were able to maintain. But anyways, so I dropped a few dollars on 10 of these. But yeah, anyways, if you ever wanted to give me a gift, that'd be great. Or you could just say, hey Zen, here's some ducats. Go buy yourself a cigar. Because it does give me the motivation to sit on a swing on my hammock for 3 hours and talk a bunch of shit with you guys. And as per usual, just so people in the future know, this is not me just sitting around here talking nothing nonsense. I mean, maybe it is sometimes, but it is also available to ask me anything that you might need help with. And I think anyone would tell you that, yeah, I think that guy knows. That guy. Whatever it might be. Other than how to make a a personal portable air conditioning unit, or a miniature ice freezer for my backpack. I don't know. I could figure it out if I had to. Yeah, I mean Anki. That is what's up. I to take it into a completely esoteric understanding, for sure. I mean that is time wave zero. It's 0 point energy. It is the point of magic. It is wherever your higher self resides, kind of. It's like whatever the god, wherever the the point of where your thought originates to then start to collapse different energies to make matter, or compress, I guess. Compress would be a better word. Compress energies to make matter so that way we can live in this realm. Yeah. It's a perfect way of describing it. So anybody that didn't see what he said, time and space is relative to your assembly point. You are the point of energy that creates the 1 through 9, and you are the clear light from which the darkest dark and the lightest light comes from. Yes. Yeah. All of the things in between. The space in between the trees, the tree itself, the what your eyes see and what your eyes are seeing that is outside of you, you're also putting there. That's the hardest thing to. Don't get too high because you get stuck in that space where you get too fucking stoned and you're just like, okay, so is that tree there or am I producing it with my eyes? And if I'm producing it with my eyes, then all of a sudden, and you believe that and you really believe that, then you get into that space where everything becomes like, whoa, that tree just morphed into a tater tot. You know what I mean? So there is something that is out there, surely, but you're producing it in as much as whatever's out there, as within, so without, as without, so within, as above, so below, as so below, as above. So it's a two-way street of interacting with physical objects and your mind, creating, your physical objects help create what you think, and what you think helps to create physical objects. Go put that fucking in your pipe and smoke that shit. That's a the assembly point. So Anukai, the Anunnaki, hey Enki. Oh, Enki, where you from? Oh, Finn, I hear you on that. That is something that you like once you've done drugs, kind of like Terrence McKenna. No, not Terrence McKenna. Alan Watts said, once you get the message, hang up the phone. That's one way of looking at it. And other people, like, for me, for instance, I think of it this way. Once you've done something enough that you understand what it is, you don't need to do it again. You can always put yourself in that space. Like, it's like whenever, people, people that drink a little bit, but then they act more drunk because they've been more drunk and they get into that funny space. But then if they got to deal with something, like, oh, I got to drive right now because so-and-so is too fucked up to drive, you become more sober. It's like contact high. If I'm around people that are on certain substances, I contact their auric field, and I kind of get on their level. You know what I'm saying? And you could do that for yourself with just about anything. There's some things like rehash it. Or there is something nice about sitting and enjoying tobacco. There's something once in a while about smoking weed. Once in a while, a little bit. Something about most of the psychedelics. Once you've done them, you've already made those neurological connections. Yeah, Finn, I hear you. They're actually quite bitchy without. Yes. Oh, I know the feeling. There was a time, like, I've explained this to many people, and there are a lot of people that totally know what I'm saying and agree with me, and there's others that they're like, no, that's not what it is. Like, you're just not being honest. And it's that the hardest drug that I've ever had to quit was weed. Everything else, I don't care how addictive people said things were, I could be done with it. Weed, no. That was morning, noon, and night. I couldn't go to sleep without it. When I woke up, I needed to smoke. It was that difficult. So when people say like weed is not addictive, bullshit. And why is it that I know everybody that I know that smokes weed, they smoke weed? There are certain people that I know that they get high when they can get high, and it's part of their life, and they've understood what it is. But majority of people, they don't understand. That shit is. Are you in Cali now? Are you in a good part of Cali? What part of Cali? Are you trying to get out of that fucking sinking ship of a state? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like a gutter. It looks like it's about to. It doesn't look livable, you know. Unless you're in one of the better spots, because there obviously is a big place, and there's plenty of awesome places in Cali, but. Yeah, it's funny, like with the weed, it was like first it was like cool, it was fun to be high, and then it was like it was a requirement. It was like I didn't like not being high. It was weird. And now I only like getting high certain times with certain people in certain places. Other than that, I prefer sobriety. And for me, sobriety is, it could be fasting, it could be juice, it could be, to me, a couple beers is sobriety. Like I don't. Like obviously, as much as I do drink, yeah, there's plenty of times I drink too much, but all in all, like, you know, like a couple beers is nowhere at all as crazy as the kind of weed kids that we smoking these days. I've hit someone's blunt once or twice. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I was like, so this is basically, I'm just stoned for 2 hours. Like I'm just out of my fucking gourd for 2 hours. I'm like, no. Well, there goes whatever I was gonna do today. I had some. Nope, not gonna happen now. Yeah, yeah. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. Like when you've been high all the time, being sober is a type of high. That's pretty funny. I need to go in this little park over here because see what happened, because it was closed after the hurricane because a bunch of these giant ass trees fell. So I don't know, but luckily the part that I seen, none of the trees fell onto any of the sculptures. So that was cool. That was great as far as I've seen, but it's very big. It's many acres of land. So it'd be interesting to see if any of the major pieces of artwork got destroyed. Gelato alien head. Oh, skull, you did. So how did that work? So you cleaned the distiller out perfectly. You ran it through, and then you got basically what you got. Because obviously you can, distill alcohol, right? And it's like if you got cheap vodka, what on plastic bottle, you could just throw it through a distiller. I mean, what the hell do you think's going on? And actually, on Amazon, I seen that they got some pretty big distillers, like 8-gallon distillers that all work off the stove, and the whole thing, it's a beautiful setup, and they're only like $100 some bucks, $120, and it's like the whole thing with the copper cooler, the 3 systems. They got the pot for the mash. It's all set up mad nice, and it's like all of them have 4.5, 5 stars. So if anybody's into making their own alcohol, looks like it might be a fun little idea. Oh yeah. People that like sober, but then they drink coffee at least 3 times a day, and they eat all of these chemical laced sugars, and their diet goes to garbage, and they smoke cigarettes. Yeah, people. It's very interesting. People I knew that, obviously they probably had drinking problems, but they after they got sober, I'm like, you never smoked, and all of a sudden they're drinking coffee. They're very jittery, just slugging down coffee. So they're high on something, smoking the cigarettes, eating all this. They get fat and they start to age and decay. I'm like, are you sure you just didn't trade in? You sure you just didn't trade in your type of high that you got there? Yeah, because coffee makes you more coherent. Not really. It just makes you more of a spaz. Yeah, their minds are. Yeah. I don't know how many times I was saying this earlier. If you ever watched any of my earlier shows, like I would just for fun for you guys, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go to a coffee shop today, and I'm gonna get a coffee, and you're gonna watch Zen zoot it out on coffee, and you can just see you'll see how fast I talk and like how my shit is all over the place. And my brain is still working, but I can just see how fast it is, and I can just sense the jitteriness. Oh, it's fucking awful. I like it like this. I've had this coffee for the 3 hours, and that's how much I drank. And a lot of that is milk, and it was espresso. So, and then I counterbalanced it with a beer and cigar. This is about right. 3 hours, 3 beers. Almost finished with a cigar. Kratom, a little bit of coffee. This is about right. Yeah, I didn't know about the glyphosate. Weed and coffee. Oh yeah. I'm good with that. Like one or the other. You can't put those together. I don't like that either. But I know people that go to but you know what? I mean, the original coffee shop with good coffee, espresso, or coffee that doesn't have all the chemicals and not white sugar, and just a nice joint of not the new school hybridized nonsense, but what they used to be growing. That's okay. That's fine. Not no more. Mm-mm. For real, I was talking to somebody the other day who knew nothing, who doesn't know anything about this shit that I know. I mean, he's just a security guard that works at a grocery store, and I always talk to him. And he's sitting there. He's got coconut water, and I was like, yeah, man, you gotta just put some lime in there. So we started talking about coconut and lime, and I was like, yeah. And then we were talking about getting up in the morning. I was like, yeah, because in the morning, like I just drink lime water, and if I get fancy, I'll get some coconut water, and then perhaps get some sugarcane juice. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, and I was like, sometimes I'll have some coffee, and he's like, man, I don't even need it in the morning. He's like, I get up, I drink this, and if I drink lemonade or lime or whatever, he's like, oh, man, I just take a shit. I was like, yeah, and what happens right afterwards? It's like you're ready to go. It's like you're already boosted. Like once you get the shit out of you, your body functions, your mind works. Like you don't even need coffee. He's like, yeah. I was like, that's crazy, right? Lime water just gets the shit out you. Finn, you said best thing to do is wake up. Don't even engage with the thoughts. Don't down any coffee and have endless mind, and then have those without realizing it, and then go talk to someone. Yeah, exactly. Cafe mushrooms are clear. Hmm. Interesting. Let me Give me 1 second, y'all. I'll be right with you. I'll be with you in one moment, please. Un momento, por favor. Oh, really? We're playing these games? My chargers do not work. Oh yes, we got we got charger life. Nice. Well, let me see what time it is, cause 5 o'clock. What's up, B Johnson? How many pull-ups could I do right now? Fucking 0. I don't know. Like full on real deal, all the way to starting position, or like how most people do pull-ups. Like not many at all. A, because I've been lazy and I got a couple extra pounds on me. B, I haven't been doing any workout like that. Yeah, and also I have kind of long arms, so to do a proper pull-up for me is way different than somebody that's got short arms, you know? It's like whenever people, you know, the taller you are, bench pressing, because of the range of motion, is way different. longer muscles, yeah. I really don't know, not many. Oh, dead hang, real ones? Like, I probably dead hang, like, really, if I 3, really, like, maybe. Like, granted, if you said, okay, if I said give me a week, let me get my fast twitch muscles in order, my ANS in order, and my support. Hold on a second. And my support muscles in order. You know, maybe 2 weeks. I could probably bust out a fair amount. But right now, no way. I'd probably have a hard time doing one right now. I mean, like right now, no. I wouldn't even do it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, thank you. I hear you, man. Crazy times, man. Well, the you know, like I said at the beginning, and in a couple other videos, I think if there's any type of reset, I mean, you know, at what point, how many people really, like, once the reset occurs, and whoever's left over, like, what, the houses are still here. What does everybody? They just go, okay, you guys survived. Go pick a house. And here's your Black MasterCard and whatever. We already got the robots. Whatever you want. Let's repopulate. What's up? You know, it's a possibility. You can't think this is all negative, you know. And because I'm pretty certain, as much as you could be, that whenever people get out their body, spirit is released out of this realm, they'll go into another realm. They'll go into another realm, another experience, whatever it might be. I don't necessarily think it will be like a dog or a cat. I think it'll be another human type experience, but they may or may not take their memories with them. Probably not, and they'll just get to start over. It could be something that looks just like this. Who knows? They could literally go to a different realm, like over there, or it could just be a different frequency modulation here, or it could be an exact replica. Oh, B. Johnson, that's wicked, man. Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple that are still okay, and there's others that they were just like, no, man, man, and I was like, fine, I don't even want to be here anyways. A mansion for free. See, you know what? I've considered that. I don't know what I would pick, because I don't like too much space, because then I just got to fill it up. Even if that was the case, I don't think I would want someplace too big, because then I would just end up filling that space up with other humans, and let them be in my space, and that would be, you know, I think I would get something big enough that I could have my separate spaces for, say, a room for music, a room for art. You know what I mean? Like, it would still be bigger than I would pick something bigger than like now in this reality. I'm good where I am. Like, I don't need much more space. Would I like to have an extra room for my tools and for my art and for my massage table and things? And would I like to have? Yes. You know, I'd be good with a couple thousand square feet, so I could have everything I needed. But all in all, I don't need much. I don't think I'd want all that responsibility of a mansion, because then there's everything that goes along with that: cleaning it, maintaining it. Yeah, and then if you got all that, like, how long? You know, depending on like what the world looks like afterwards. I mean, I think, you know, no one's gonna want your shit, no one's gonna steal it, so I think you'd be okay. But I mean, if you did go to a realm and you got a cool place like that, then people are gonna want it. Like, gang come up with like 8 people, like, oh, we're gonna take this house. Like, okay. I guess I'll just take the one next door then. Yeah, B. Johnson, I don't know. I mean, the social credit score thing, I don't think that's gonna work out. I don't think that's gonna function well. As I've always said, I'm not gambling on any of it, because you know, I'm trying to sway it as much as I can in one direction, but it looks similar, but it's not, and it would go towards the idea of zeitgeist movement and Venus Project, and having a common heritage of land and items and goods, and having a resource-based economy, because there's enough resources for everyone, and so it would look a lot more like socialism or communism to a degree, but because of the way money would work, it wouldn't work in the same way by any means, and what people would want to own would be much less, and all of the social issues that we have, crime and drug use, that would go away, because people's mentality of the things that they need, the simple things that they need on Maslow's, you know, a place to live, for their, you know, just their few items they want to own, they can have in their space, and they have enough food, and then then you get rid of so much of the crime, because who's stealing anything from somebody if they don't need to? And then, you know, people's addiction to the drug would go away, because they wouldn't be living in that mind state of, you know, they ain't got shit, so they're just trying to deaden their senses, that they would involve themselves in the realm differently. You get rid of a lot of that real quick with the system that was run on resource-based economy. It functioned a lot differently. Oh no shit. Finn, that's hilarious. Yeah. That's what's up. I mean, if that type of larger reset happens and there's way less people and you could just pick and choose, then you'd also find your clan, right? You'd find your family. You'd find the people that you want to that you have you'd have similar dispositions with, that you like, you're all into doing a certain type of artwork, or you're all into music, or you enjoy the fact that this person's, I want somebody not like me, and you'd find those people, right? And then living in a mansion is just an indoor community, just like a outdoor hippie community. It'd just be more indoor, and you, because it's a mansion, you'd obviously have outdoor activities too, so it wouldn't it would look more like it's supposed to look. So yeah, having a mansion, it wouldn't be like, some people even in a different social, mental, physical climate of how money and relationships work. There's still people that would be introverted, and still people that would be extroverted. There'd still be people that want their own space and just like they're into reading and knitting and having their little space and keeping to themselves. There'd still be that, and there's still be people that just want to go, hey, let's listen to loud music and do crazy shit. You know, there'd still be those things. It wouldn't look a lot different, other than the fear and the ownership of things, and people trying to one-upmanship would leave. Somebody having a cool car, because a cool car would no longer be a cool car. The purpose of cars would be different. You wouldn't be trying to impress anybody, because if everybody has the same access, then there'd be nothing. Then it would just be artwork. And how cool can you make your car because you want to do that? And somebody's like, that's awesome. Way to make that art of your car. It's like the Mayans, time equals art rather than time equals money. We change the way everything is structured, change the way that people think completely. And there you go, Finn. And some people will still continue, and maybe, and also here, if we get into that, drugs for a second, then all of the drugs that people do, there's going to be no reason for people to be, the chemical companies will go to nil almost, right? All of the natural, organic, good things, the healthy things, those products for cleaning and things for the house, those would change. And tobacco products, they would stop putting all the chemicals in there and lacing it with all that bullshit. The opium that turns into heroin, that wouldn't be all fucked up. The cocaine wouldn't be cut with everything, and all of these things that become addictive, you would get the purest form of them. And hey, people can function on substances, and some would be doing themselves. They'd be balancing and fixing their brain that is chemically been altered in the past, and they would find the things that balance them. So even if things were drugs for people, that would be a community too. But those communities, they'd still have, they wouldn't be out in crazy places. They would have their own space. They'd have, there's the bathroom, there's the there's the kitchen, there's some food, there's no reason to go run around the streets trying to fucking rob and steal and beg for $1.50 so you can get a crack rock that's been that just changes. Everything goes way more to the original purpose, organic purpose, and whatever it might be, for sure. Yeah, I mean, ketamine, that's a horse trank, and I can understand why. I mean, where people are, like, why would you want? I've watched videos of Kensington, Philadelphia, and there's other places they're all over the country. Baltimore's got some places like this, but Kensington is a very major place. And like, do you think those people have any reason to want to maintain anything to do with the reality that they're living in? I mean, there's nothing good there. So for them, their escapism, they'll take the drug, because then they're in their little, they're in an empty, comfortable space that they don't have to feel all of the insanity of the world, and then the pressures of getting food, of getting a home, to getting clean clothes, of showering. All of that disappears, and they just sit there and go, nod the fuck out. Well, that would go away, and that ketamine, I could see why people do it, because it just tranquilizes you. It's a trank. I mean, this is what a lot of people do. Tranquilizers. Shuts you off. Yeah, I mean, it's when you take all of these things and look at it from a social issue standpoint, like why it's not. People aren't born to suck. People aren't born hateful. People aren't born stupid. People are born curious and happy and interested and engaging. This is children, and everything else is a learned behavior, and learn to not have enough, to learn to be in deficit, to learn to be in debt. You get rid of all of those things, and it changes how people interact with their reality. Like, surely, how many people would go do their stupid jobs doing all the fucking paperwork when they really, really, really want to start making pottery? Like, would I start making pottery? Yes, but I don't have the room. I don't have a way to throw clay. I don't have the money to buy clay. I don't have the space. And if I went somewhere, I'd have to pay for it. I don't got that. It would change my life, right? It would change people that are doing just sucking their creativity and fun and life out of them to go do nonsense. Now everybody has the possibility to go do whatever that is that sets their fucking heart on fire, to engage with the realm. Yeah, I mean, what would I do? I don't know. I'd get a big enough piece of land and play with fucking dogs and goats and alpacas and dogs, goats, alpacas, sloths, ducks. I'd have some sort of farm, fucking animal farm, man. I don't know. I'd be part of what I did, sure. But all of those things cost money, and takes extra people to do it, which I do not have the access to. However, change things, and those things become, change the reality to resource-based, and those things become, it's not about do you have the money to do it, but do you have the time and space? And certainly there's enough time and space for everybody to do anything the fuck they want. Horses. You know what? I'm good without horses. I don't want horses. Because I've seen traumatic injuries from them. I like cows. I've seen dogs get, and I've seen people. I mean, I get it that people, you have to learn to respect the horse, and I get it. Like, I like horses. I've been around horses, and I don't fear them per se. But it's just they're just a little too powerful with their hind legs. I get how people can have them, and some people like them and they want to work with them. Yeah, go for it. That just wouldn't be part of what I would want. I'll be having my goats and my cows and my ducks. And what do they all have in common? They're all man-made, perhaps. They're all fake. I don't know. Man-made might be right. Yeah, I mean, I was hanging out on this this. Oh, that's a bluebird, man. Want to see a bluebird? Is it a bluebird or a blue jay? Hold on. Let's see if I can zoom in on this joint. Can I zoom in? Oh, yes. I don't even know how that's. Can we flip this around? Oh, he's right there. Where'd he go? Oh, little bastard. Oh, he just flew away. Okay, sorry guys, you don't get to see him. Maybe he'll come over here closer. Yeah. Anyways, I've seen the results of horses that have kicked dogs. It's not a good look. Sorry, somebody's wearing heavy-duty vanilla perfume. At quite a distance, too. I can still smell it. I can't see it. Oh, I can see where it's coming from now. It's quite a distance. It's across the bridge. It's good 40 yards. That's how good my nostrils, that's how good my schnauzleberries are. Yeah, the horse dung. I didn't know anything about the mushrooms on horse dung. I thought it was specifically to certain animals and certain. Um, yeah, like what other elements are there? The mycelium networks and things, like which ones are going to be more psychedelic than others. Like you can find them on coniferous trees, but you can't find them on oak trees. But you can find certain types of things, certain types of mushrooms on here, but they're not going to get you high. Like there's some right there. Some right there. Huh. I was unaware of the horse dung. No, stop. Hey, Arcane, maybe it was you, huh? Well, check it out, everybody. It's been 3.5 hours, and as per usual, I'll let you know. At any point in time, you find a nickel or a dime, and you can help me out with any monies. That's very appreciated. You put in my CashApp, PayPal, all that. You do know how to get a hold of me at Theoluminous, TheoluMinous, means God Light, at Gmail. And also hit me up on my Telegram, Zen_Atman, and that's where I can put up cool stuff. There's a lot more leniency to put anything you want up. Where on it's the same thing as Instagram, but you can put anything you want up. So check me out there. You can talk to me there as well. And I gotta piss. I'm gonna go say hi to the ducks. Maybe I'll bring you from my duck adventure in a little bit, but I gotta piss. And there's too many people out here right now. I'm not gonna just piss in public. It's good to see everybody. Hope y'all had fun. Be weird. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others when you can. And we will talk soon. I might be on here tonight. Depends. It's Friday. I do got a couple bucks to maybe make it out to public sector. We'll see. I wouldn't mind saying hi to some humans, although I can do without them. Maybe I'll just dick around with you guys tonight. But good to see everybody. Yes. Good to see you, Finn. Good to see you, Arcane. Good to see you, everybody else. Enki, Finn, everybody else is up in here. And we will talk soon. Be groovy, y'all.